Hey there guys, it's Metro. Oh boy. We have some things to talk about tonight. Some things indeed. So anyway, planning on doing this with Cop. I'm not sure how to actually get a hold of Cop. So, Endless Tragedy was up. So yeah, anyway, I hope he'll pop in and we'll be able to talk. But for now, I'm just relaxing. I don't, kind of in like this crazy, kind of in this crazy mindset, right? I just don't even know what to say, man. I don't even know what to fucking say. I'm just flabbergasted. My mind's spinning. My head's spinning, basically. You were right. I've been waiting for your stream. Well, good. I'm glad that you're here now. Marin, what's up? Banana, John, Tragedy. How's everybody? How's everybody on Blizzcon on day one? Yeah, so it was, I was wrong about Saint Hazakosis. It was actually Saint Alan Brack who gave us the news. Zetsu as well. What's up? Vanilla is back. Tell me what you think about it. So I want to talk about all this with Cop, but I don't. Do you guys have any way to get in touch with him? I don't know how to get in touch with Cop. I'm not actually sure. This will be the first time I've ever. Like I don't. He's in the Discord, but he's not online in Discord. I don't think he actually uses Discord. Let's see. Skype? I don't think I have him on Skype. I don't know. I don't know how to get in touch with this dude. Says he's in the Discord, but he's not online in Discord, so I don't know. A big WTF. Yeah, so wow, do I have a lot to talk about. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's on BattleNet. Oh, good call, good call, good call. I didn't even think about BattleNet. Where is he? Yeah, I just was talking about the people from his stream. I thought maybe he had like something set up for them. Says he's away, so. Oh yeah, there's a voice chat. I wonder how that works. Not trying to fuck with that tonight. Anyway, let's say. So, before we do get together, I do want to say something. It depends on what they do. They'll be using new. Okay, so here they've already answered this. I did not know about this. Where was this posted? I did not know about this, but apparently they also added a like an official. It's like an interview. PC Gamer. I assume there's a couple of these. Okay, but yeah. Long story short, I'm gonna link this to you guys if you want it. I don't know what all this nonsense is here, but anyway, if you want to read it, you can. Have me on instead. Here, let's just do this, man. Just hop in the guild Discord if you guys want to talk about this shit. Or not the guild Discord, of course. The Metro one. What was that? Oh, cool. As am I, buddy. Just about to start up stream. I'm on Discord as well. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do in the Hangout. And I got to turn off push to talk. I've never actually used not push to talk. But anyway, if you guys want to come in and hang out in Discord, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to try to do the bulk of the talking. But yeah, you're welcome to interject if you like. Anyway, let's see. How do we do this? Voice. Okay. Voice activity. Okay, so let's see if it works. Hopefully it works. I don't know. I've never not used push to talk. So, hey there, guys. It's Metro. It seems to be working. So if anybody wants to hop in. If not, no big deal. But anyway. So yeah, in that interview, it says here, let's see, Brack is clear that using modern server architect does not mean that these classic servers will have the same feature that current World of Warcraft does. There won't be cross-realm servers looking for raid or dungeon finder automatic party matchmaking. So like the fact that that got brought up, I think is a good thing one way or the other. But yeah, I think that's a really important, obviously it's an important thing. So, I don't know. Anyway, regardless of what they do there, I do want to say one thing before we actually like get too far into this conversation. I was not right. Okay, everybody's saying, oh, like a bunch of people were like, oh my God, you were right. You're a prophet. It's like, no, I said that there wouldn't come out this BlizzCon, but I said it would happen eventually, and it has. Okay, it has happened eventually, but it has also proved me wrong by coming out this. Actually, leave that off. But anyway. So I don't know. I feel really stupid for releasing the video I released yesterday now because it was like I was so fucking wrong. It was unbelievable, but I'm happy that I was wrong because I think I might have even said that in the video. I was like, I was happy to be wrong because if I was wrong, then that means we finally got to where we want to be. And there's Cop. Hey, what's up, man? You there?
Hey man, what's up?
Dude, what a fucking day, huh?
Oh, fucking amazing. Pardon my French for people in my stream that never heard me stream, but that was fucking amazing. Never heard me use swear words, but that was fucking amazing, man.
That was a top-notch afternoon there, I would say, huh?
That was awesome. Awesome. I missed the deep dive, but I saw everything else, so... Like the systems, the one that was just done.
The one that was just done. Yeah, you didn't miss a ton. They talked a lot about. So basically, this is one thing I want to talk about with you. So we'll go through it however you want to go through it. But yeah, they went through a bunch of the like core features of this next expansion, and that's what the deep dive was. So.
Yeah. Like I say, the only thing I missed was the systems one that was there for an hour, but I did see a bunch of the stuff. Man, who has two thumbs and called a South Seas Queen Ashara, no boy, red versus blue, this guy?
You called it, buddy. You were right. I was wrong, 100%. I couldn't have been more off on most of the things I talked about in that video yesterday. It's kind of embarrassing.
It's awesome, man. I tell you, one thing that really stuck out to me is they kind of only stuck their toe into the leveling changes that we wanted.
Yep.
And I was a little disappointed with that.
Well, so the way I approached it, the way it approached me, I guess more so, was that like I got exactly what I wanted from the official Classic announcement, and I was just kind of in shock. Like the rest of the day, I'm still in shock. Like I still can't believe that they actually said that shit, even though it's probably not coming for a really long time. The fact that they actually agreed to do it, which is a whole topic to talk about here, but then when they said that they were actually doing leveling improvements, I was just through the roof. Like, I didn't even give a fuck what they said at that point. All they had to say was the leveling improvements, and no matter, even if they're like, oh, we're gonna make it, it's gonna be shinier, I would be like, fuck yes, shiny leveling. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't care. The scaling tech is huge. I think that's like one of the biggest things that needed to happen anyway. They didn't. Sure. They didn't. I
don't even mind how they pulled it back from where we wanted it, right? Because I understand what they're saying about leveling, it being a bit silly if you're coming back from Northrend to go to Elwyn Forest again. So I don't even mind them pulling it back to...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like chunks now, right? So like that's all 60 and you're going to, it would be scaled up or whatever. So I think that's the right way to do it. Now we can go 1 to 60 in whatever zones we want as long as you're the right level for starting the zone. And then we don't have to constantly hop from BC to Wrath every time you level new characters. This is great. I think what they set on stage today was the precedent that they're going to actually care about the whole game again. And, let's talk about that because what they announced today, well, tell me a little bit. How do you feel about the announcement of Battle for Azeroth?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it because it shows, like I said, we've spent so much time attacking these threats, and forcing ourselves to work with the other side that now that there's no external threat coming at us, we finally have to deal with what's been the whole start of this is Horde versus Alliance. We have to deal with that.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I like the theme of it. I think is a really smart theme. I think they made a great choice with actual thematic expansion from Legion. I thought it was going to be Old Gods, like I said, out of the gate, but this makes way more sense. The fact that, this war has escalated, it kind of reminds you that shit actually did happen in Legion. I think a lot of people forgot that the stuff in High Mountain actually happened, creating the tension here that we have now. So yeah, you like the theme overall, right?
I do like the theme overall. I'm not a PvP kind of guy, and got to tell you, I love the changes that they're making to PvP. But at the same time, I love the idea because I love the lore of it. We have to confront this whole war between us because eventually we are going to move on to another big threat. And if we don't deal with all these things that happened, how King Rin was killed, how all this stuff that has been happening for 7 expansions or whatever, we have to deal with it before we can move on.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. You can't really just ignore it. And I think that's, so this is why I'm kind of on the fence about this expansion, all right? So I'm going to go into this a little bit. You can give your thoughts too. I'm obviously very excited for any new expansion. Like, don't get me wrong, but the theme of it seems like it was something that needed to happen. So this reminds me a lot of Cataclysm. Like, it feels like that we're in a situation with almost everything that was announced today in terms of Battle for Azeroth, as if it's being approached because it has to be approached before they could take on a new big threat, kind of like you just said. So while, you know, it sounds exciting, I'm excited about, you know, the sub-race thing, whatever they're allied races they're calling it. That sounds awesome. I feel like that's going to be a great addition. I'm excited about the new the big PvP stuff that they talked about, the whatever they're calling it, the islands and the Warfronts. Those sound cool, but what they didn't give us today was like this big new feature, right? And I have to think that that's because there's just nothing big and new about this expansion. Like, I expect it to just be like the back and forth that we have, where like Legion's outstanding, and next expansion it just kind of rolls on the coattails, adds some new things, and then the expansion after that's crazy again. You know, like, I don't know. I can't help but feel that way. I don't know. How does that make you feel?
I understand exactly what you're saying. I tend to think that the big new features are all this underlying stuff. And it's the same thing, like you say about Cataclysm. Because they spent so much time changing leveling then, they didn't have time. I think we lost, what was it, 2 raid tiers that they had originally planned.
Yeah, there was at least one raid, yeah.
Yeah, there was at least one raid, and they, you know, they have. I mean, if you do the alliance side of Warlords of Draenor, they even have a thing in the graveyard in your garrison where there's a grave for raid D tier.
Oh, really?
There is. Yeah. So I mean, you know, they had all this other stuff that they're doing, changing the servers so that there's no more PvP, PvE servers. They're changing the leveling. They're obviously diverting some people from the main thing to go and do these vanilla servers. So they can't.
Well, that's actually not true. So do you want to talk about Classic, or do you want to talk about Battle for Azeroth? Because I have 2 separate things I want to talk about on these topics. So it's up to you.
Let's talk about. Let's go. We started with Battle. Let's go with Battle.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll come back to that, because that's like there's this whole interview that they did, which is interesting on the Classic thing. But yeah, anyway, so for Battle for Azeroth, what you missed in that panel, which is somewhat interesting, was they talked about 3 main things. One of them was the it's called Islands feature. I'll catch you up real quick. It's essentially procedurally generated scenarios. If you remember scenarios from MoP, they're similar to that. There's like objectives in them. I guess there's like a couple objectives in each one. They're meant to take about 15 to 20 minutes. You'll have some combat, some, you know, exploration, and some stuff like that. But what the goal is there is that it tells a different story each time. So they said it's not purely procedurally generated. I guess the island's always going to look the same, but the stuff that you do on the island will change every time. So that's pretty cool. I like that idea. It's going to be a key source of the Azerite, which is essentially the new artifact power from the way I see it. And then they announced, or they talked a lot about the Warfronts, which are essentially, they're trying to like emulate Warcraft 3's, kind of like the scenarios in Warcraft 3's, the battles that we had in those RTSs in actual Warcraft, to make it feel like you actually care about the world, the resources, the units that you're deploying, stuff like that. I didn't really get a great feeling for exactly what the purpose of it was, but just that it's a big feature. And then they talked a lot about the what I'm looking at as the new artifact / legendary. The way I look at this Heart of Azeroth, it's a neck. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the Heart of Azeroth?
Oh yeah, I saw that for sure.
Yeah, so it's a neck piece. Effectively appears to be a legendary or an artifact type, like a weapon or, you know, something like that. But it's only a neck now, and you're going to put points into it, kind of like AP, and the more points you have in it, the more you'll be able to get out of your actual gear. And what they're doing is every single gear has this Netherlight Crucible type permutation of different things that you could do with it. And it looks like there's going to be maybe 3 or 4 tiers on each gear, like the Netherlight Crucible. The first tier is going to be a throughput, at least based on this imagery, a throughput. So it's like they had the Shaman, it was either Lightning Bolt, Flame Shock, or, you know, some other ability. All of them, you pick which one you want to increase. You get 1 out of the 4. And then the next tier, it's like it's a movement ability or something like that. You could do this, that, or this. And then the third one, it's like a survivability one. So it's like it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's like what people were asking for with the talent system where, you know, there's actual choices. Now it's on the gear, and it kind of, to me, it replaces the legendary system, because that's kind of what the legendary system was anyway. It's like, do I want to wear Pride as neck and have survivability, or do I want to wear this piece here that does that? So those three things sound great, but I don't look at, they're things that could be added to Legion right now, and it probably wouldn't change that much. You know, that's the point. I don't see anything in this announcement that I feel like, God damn, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I got you exactly. I see exactly what you're saying. Again, we've still got, what, a year before this is going to come out.
Yeah.
So we could still get a huge, and I think they held a lot back. And I think the reason they did it is because they didn't want to ruin the story of Legion that's coming up in the Antorus raid.
Right. And that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm actually more excited about how Legion's going to end. And they teased it a couple times throughout the day. But yeah, it definitely has to do with Silithus, and it's going to have to do with our artifacts, and it's going to have to do with the big fight that's coming. So,
like I said, I've said this before, and I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I think what's going to happen is we've been pouring so much power into our artifacts. We keep powering them up, powering them up, powering them up. That power is going to be used to do something that either redeems or destroys Argus's world soul. And I would hope for redeeming it, and that way that guy can go off and deal with Sargeras, because we're not killing Sargeras in Legion.
Right.
We're not facing him yet. And so we're going to have to face him at some point. But if we do something that sends Argus's world soul off to fight him, then we can turn again on ourselves. And I think that's where that's headed.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Well, you don't actually know what happens with Sargeras?
No, man, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. Well, do you want me to tell you? Because it's out. Like, everybody knows by now.
Oh, okay. Well, please.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how it comes to pass, but the long and short of it is that the only way we could actually kill Sargeras, we basically can't win a fight against him, so we decide to jail him instead, and Illidan sacrifices himself to be the jailer for the rest of eternity.
Oh, interesting. So he's taking on the same role that Maiev had with him.
Yep, exactly, yeah. And there's all kinds of story revolving around it, but that's like how the raid ends somehow. I don't know exactly, but this was data mined before the Argus patch even came out, so.
Yeah, I tend to try and stay away from those data mines just because I don't want to ruin myself
for you.
Yeah. Hey, no worries, man. I appreciate it.
It's important though, like if we're gonna, that's the problem, right? Like we don't even know how this expansion ends. So the fact that they're talking about next expansion already, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of like I said, I'm still in awe here. Like I'm still in shock, because the way I look at this is Legion is near perfect for me. So the fact that they didn't announce any like game-changing feature, at least from what I see, that's not a bad thing in my eyes. That's a fine thing, because I fucking love Legion. So the fact that they already confirmed Mythic Plus is fully, like, there's going to be 10 dungeons at launch, which is huge. One of them is Kazan. You saw that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's totally crazy.
Awesome. It's going to be awesome.
So all of that, you know, the stuff that I love about Legion all still seems to be there. At least they didn't make any big announcement about it not being there. But the thing that I was actually the most interested in from all of this stuff was the stat squish. Did you get the hint of the stat squish that was kind of dropped by accident?
No, I didn't, man. What happened?
So when they showed the Heart of Azeroth, the first picture in the afternoon one, it was like on a character that was 110 and 170 item level, and they had like 1k stamina. Did you see that picture?
Wow, I did see that.
Yeah.
It didn't click with me that was the stat squish, but they've been said we were going to get it before Legion even started. They said we were getting it.
170 though. I mean, that's TBC right now. So and like 1k stamina, that's like I don't know, that might even be classic. I'm not even sure. So I've been trying to get people to tell me who are at BlizzCon what, like, if they can go and play the game, what health pool we have right now and how much damage you're doing, like the numbers. But I can't get an answer. Maybe there'll be an answer while we're here talking. But that is a bigger change to me than anything else they talked about, because obviously, you know, they're adding new tech to the game, new ideas to the game. I'm sure it's all going to be fine. But I don't know, like the actual idea of the stat squish is more important to me than anything, because it means that they're trying to unify the progression from the beginning of the game to the end of the game for once, right?
Yeah, I that's the thing. I wasn't sure how they were going to do the stat squish, because they almost wrecked it last time, because there was so much weird, you know, the leveling gear was there's some places where your gear from BC is almost as powerful as the stuff from MOP, or some have better stats, right?
Just to clarify, somebody said in the stream here, Lellerson, 1K stam is classic, obviously, ironically. He's saying 1K stam is like Wrath or Kata. Maybe you misunderstood, dude. I'm talking about they have 1K stamina total, not on a piece of gear.
That's terrible.
Hey, Fizzle, what's up? Why is that terrible? What?
Well, I mean, it's back to the old days.
Okay, anyway, so yeah, that's 1K across an entire character. So one way or the other, they did the stat squish in Mists of Pandaria going into WoD, and then obviously it got out of control in Legion, like completely. We're already way over what we would have been with MOP. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in seeing where that ends up, but I think that's a really good thing because especially knowing what we know about the scaling tech, dude, I'm fucking excited to actually level a character again, man. Oh, and then the sub races stuff, right? Where you have to actually unlock them, and then if you level them 1 to max, you get that cosmetic, that set of gear. You saw that, right?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Is going to be awesome.
That was so awesome. I cannot fucking wait. I'm actually excited to level characters again. So even though they didn't do, like, they didn't seem to make it any more challenging. Maybe this will still happen. I don't know. It's coming out with 7.3.5, the scaling tech, so we'll be able to test it probably before the end of the year, maybe even before the next raid, depending on how fast this goes through. Yeah, I don't know. One way or the other, I'm really excited about that, and I hope that it works out because if they could actually make Classic to whatever 120 is, make it feel smooth and not these crazy jumps in power and these crazy jumps in progression and storyline. Oh, we're back to World of Warcraft, man. Everything's clicking, you know? There's nothing wrong with it anymore.
And, you know, I've been saying this for a while. The only thing that's wrong with Legion, and I said this a couple times in my 1 to 110 attempts, is the leveling, and that had to be fixed. And they've done so. It just makes me so excited for my next 1 to 110, and then I'll probably have to do another one after this, the new leveling changes.
I know, dude. Oh shit. Oh my god, the first 1 to 110 with all the scaling tech. I mean, that's coming out, man. That's like real soon. So
I know, right?
Yeah.
I've got my 1 to 110 scheduled for next week, depending on if they got the raid out.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be before the scaling tech. And then I'll have to look at when the scaling tech comes out and schedule one for then.
That's crazy. Yeah, dude, I can't wait because obviously the actual patch, I don't know, people are now thinking that the patch is also going to contain the raid. So if that's the case, then we got a bit of bad news today. Means the raid's not coming out anytime soon. But one way or the other, I guess it's a good, I don't know. And that's another thing. I don't know how you feel about this, but like, everybody I talk to in the guild and stuff, they're like, man, I'm kind of killed on Antorus now, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like, fuck. I do want to play that raid, you know? Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of a little bit stoked because it still gives me a chance to catch up my AP. But at the same time, I would kind of like to get in there and get the story and see how the expansion's going to end. But, you know, what are we going to do?
Yeah. So, yeah, I just logged on the classic character there. It only has 166 stam, so obviously I was off on that. So let's log on a TBC character and see where that takes us. But anyway, the stat squish is looking quite intense one way or the other. So
I'm almost thinking, because isn't 1 stam equal to about, what, 10 health? So
yeah, that's how it is, yep.
Yeah, I would tend to think 10k is at the end of BC, beginning of Wrath, isn't it? That's right.
It was 1k.
1k.
Yeah.
So that would be what, to 10k health. So you're looking at the end of BC.
Probably.
There.
Yeah, I guess that would be right. Yeah.
That's insane. Because think about that. That's 120 levels, where before we had 7.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't know what I'm even talking about here. If 170 item level is TBC, then obviously 170 or 1,000 health is TBC too. So it's not like they're actually going to change how gearing and scaling of the gear works, right? I don't know. Maybe they will, but
then and one thing I thought while you're doing that, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the 1-to-1, whether the 110 to 120 leveling works, because they've got us separated again. You know, we do our leveling in an area where we're not likely to see any alliance.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that, man. So already people are complaining. Oh lol, only 3 zones, lol. You know what I mean? But yeah, and of course, like the what they talked about with the actual world PvP stuff, it means like you're gonna be relatively undisturbed, I assume, right? How do you think about that?
I am so happy about that. My PvP flag is going to be off. I've said this before. The only reason I'm on a PvP server is because you're there, right?
Right.
And
Oh
because
yeah.
one's there. And I'm not a PvP guy, and I've been disturbed by world PvP many times. So I'm loving this, and you're gonna not see any alliance, and that makes sense to the theme of the expansion. It flows really nicely, and I mean, we're still gonna get parts where we run into them because we have to for our what do you call it, the whatever the new garrison or uh, new order hall type of missions are in the new expansion. We're still going to go to the other side. We're still
Right.
going to have that story on the other side's islands.
Yeah,
But it's
so
not,
I don't know how they're going to handle it, but from what they said in the deep dive there, that it was going to be like the battlefronts essentially are like you're going to. So basically, with the fall of Lordaeron, like Alliance taking back Lordaeron, the whole continent of Eastern Kingdoms is now basically under. It's under the threat of Alliance control, and that's why they're doing these battlefronts. Like they're the Horde's last bastion, like try to like not lose control of Eastern Kingdoms, and then the Alliance one, I guess, would be on the opposite in Kalimdor. But then, so in like the actual new zones, I'm not really sure how we're even going to traverse them because apparently they're separated by oceans. So I guess that's going to be the whole boat thing. I don't know if we're actually going to be like piloting boats ourselves or if they're just going to be mostly a method of travel. But yeah, I assume once we're actually 120, there'll be world quests or whatever activity in all 6 zones, and I just don't know if like there's going to have to be story there, or if we're just going to go there as like usurpers, like we're going to try to take the land, or if there's going to be like a whole. I assume there's probably going to be kind of like the Nighthold story, the Suramar story was at 110. Like we're going to go through this big plot at 120 to take over the opposite island or something like that. I'm not really sure. So
I see it being like 5.1 with Landfall back in Pandaria.
yeah, that's probably
Where we're going in there and we're going to be fighting, and it's not necessarily going to be a PvP thing either, because they've got these people who can permanently have their PvP flags off. We're going to go in there, and if you want to be a PvP lord, you can go in there and just destroy everybody. But if you're a PvE guy, you go in there, and the story bits of it are going to be you're dealing with the essentially NPCs. So it should be interesting. It's going to be. I see a lot of phasing happening, a lot of it, because they're going to have to. They're going to have to, because the Horde is going to be trying to take over the Alliance Islands. The Alliance are going to be trying to take over the Horde's islands. It's interesting because as much as losing Lordaeron and Teldrassil kind of basically paint each continent red and blue,
yeah.
Well, what about the BC races? Because those are out on the opposite continents too.
That's what they were saying. So yeah, like the Horde staging area is going to come from like the north half, from Silvermoon and into Arathi. So that's where the Horde Warfront or whatever they're calling it is going to take place. So then I assume the Alliance one would come from the Draenei area and into I couldn't say wherever they decide to do it.
Azure Mist through Teldrassil to that place where Night Elf guys start when they go.
Maybe the Barrens. It would make sense. I don't know, because
I'm
trying to think of Arathi's like kind of like your. Maybe it would be Ashenvale. Like Arathi's like the quintessential battleground. You know what I'm saying? And same with Ashenvale was originally. So
yeah, Ashenvale is where we go for. That has that other one, not the Arathi Basin, but the other one. There you go, Warsong Gulch. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I saw that about Warfronts, and it struck me. I've got a note down here. It's an RTS, but has a raid.
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting challenge.
They talked a lot about it in the deep dive, like I said, so it's probably best to check it out yourself. But like what they really were seemingly after there was like this big group-based PvP that's not actual PvP. Like it's you basically like do coordinated PvE to set up a PvP scenario that might take place in the game, And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, it's basically harkening back to the original RTS games where, like you go in and build a base. So that's the first thing you do when you go in as 20 people. You build a great hall if you're doing the Horde one, and you build you know, like a town hall if you're doing the alliance one, and then like you have to get resources. So I guess you got to go chop wood or some shit, get gold, you know, do whatever you got to do. Then you could build more buildings. You build a barracks. They actually said in the deep dive that they are structuring it almost exactly like the tier, like I don't know how you work it, but like the tier structures of Warcraft 3. Like you build a Great Hall, and then into the next up, you know, the Great Hall goes like to tier 2, and then you can build new buildings, stuff like that. So it's basically Warcraft 3 in World of Warcraft, I guess. I'm not really
Wow,
sure.
that's awesome. And it's really, it's about time.
Yeah.
You know, it's about time that we get to be that guy that's on the front lines of that, or the commander that's deciding which buildings to do, and then we get to benefit from that and go in and fight it. And it, as a PvE scenario type thing, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me wonder, one of the things that we both talked about that we both wanted to see was a remaster of the RTS series.
Yes. And that we didn't get that, and I was kind of sad
get
about that. That was
For
the one
sure.
thing that I was definitely disappointed with today, because they actually brought up the StarCraft 2 remaster, or the StarCraft 1 remaster, and I was really fucking hoping that they were going to say something about whatever, but it never happened. I don't know. That whole opening ceremony was kind of crazy, how they kept switching between the stages. How did you like that?
I didn't mind it at all, because it you know, one of the things about BlizzCon that people have complained about, at least that I've heard, is that it centers too much on Warcraft, and we don't get to see the other Blizzard games enough. And I thought it did a really good job of showing that Blizzard is more than just Warcraft. And that, you know, I love all of Blizzard's games. I've not played StarCraft, but you know, now that I StarCraft 2 is for free, and I've owned StarCraft 1, I'm going to have to take some time and play them.
Yeah, that's actually when I first started talking to people about this. Like I set myself in seclusion to make sure I could focus on it. But then when I first started talking to people about it, the first thing I said to people was like, "God damn, man, that got me hyped to play Hearthstone. That got me hyped to play Heroes. That got me hyped to play Overwatch." Like I don't even fucking play those games, right? I logged on Hearthstone for the first time today in a year, and I'm already interested again. But I don't even own the other games. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Reinhardt cinematic was like, what the fuck? It was like the best thing I've ever seen, man. Did you see that shit?
I saw it, man, that got me so emotional. You got to go and watch all the other cinematics for Overwatch, because they're all that good.
I'm gonna have
there's
to.
one for May that will just tear at your heartstrings.
Yeah, that dude. If there anything as good as that, man, that was its own film. I could have watched that as a film. It was that good.
I think what they've got to do is, once they've gotten all the cinematics and they've gotten a whole bunch of this stuff, they've got to string them together into a cogent film, because there's so many really good ones, like the ones where the Shimada brothers for Hanzo and Genji is decent, and you kind of get a feeling the one that you thought is a good person isn't necessarily a good person, and it's just amazing. Like, you really got to go one of these days and just look at the Overwatch cinematics.
I really like. It's not a game I'll ever play, but all I was trying to get at there was like, this was an incredible BlizzCon for cinematics, like unbelievable.
Absolutely, buddy. And again, you know, I don't play Overwatch either, because I'm not a first-person guy, but I love the cinematics. It's just such a huge thing. I mean, I don't play HOTS either, or StarCraft, or Diablo, but it gets me into this stuff, you know?
That one, like, the scene there where Sylvanas jumps off the freaking ramparts and goes Banshee mode. I don't think I've ever been that excited about something in World of Warcraft, man. Like, that was unbelievable. I could not. I'm still shocked.
No, I was just like, oh yeah, go for the whole.
That was the crazy shit right there. She's like
even
legit too. Everybody said that she couldn't lead, you know, and now she just goes hard like that. It's so badass.
Yeah, I've been worried about her leadership for a while. Yeah. I've been hopefully optimistic, but what I was going to get at is even the stuff that Anduin did, where he like channels the entire power of the light. I mean,
OP.
Amazing.
That was OP, man. I'm gonna have to roll priest if he can do the shit like that.
Well, he's not a priest anymore. He's a paladin.
Oh, is he actually a paladin?
That's why he's wielding his father's two-handed sword. He's a retro paladin. There is a scenario that I've been wanting to get it to it on the Alliance side. I haven't had a chance yet. There's like a little quest line where you follow Anduin to the Broken Shore, and he finds his father's sword, and he makes that commitment to becoming a paladin.
Yeah, that's cool. So that he made the right choice. Maybe he'll go. Maybe he'll go Blood DK. I would switch to Blood DK if I was him. Why would he fucking? I mean, he can't die, right? Do you see how many people were around him? He could have umbilicus. He got a huge umbilicus with that. many people.
You could have given them all leech.
Yeah,
Give
dude, you
them
could
all
have.
leech
Oh,
and
he'd be self healing like crazy.
just awesome.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think I'm going to have to play a tune on the Alliance side too,
I know,
because
that's the
I'm going
scary
to have
part.
to see that side of the story.
That's the one thing,
It's
like,
just
you know, I assume it's going to be hugely different now, right? And they had that in the past. Like, I actually wanted to play Alliance a little bit here because I always thought, like, the stuff in Draenor, which I missed from the Alliance side, was probably really cool. But I just never did it. So, dude, first thing, as soon as patch 7.3.5 comes out, we're back, man. We're ready to rock with the naked leveling challenge. We're back. We're doing that shit all day, man. I cannot wait to actually.
It's going to be awesome, buddy. You do that. I'm going to do a 1-to-110.
Yeah.
We're going to have this totally done. I think you would really enjoy the Alliance side of WoD.
Oh yeah, that's why I made that character a night elf, because I definitely wanted to check that out.
Oh man, the story on that side is great, and I even like the whole the garrison on that side is so much nicer. The home zone there, Shadow Moon Valley is so much.
That's
better.
why I said I always wanted to do that stuff. Even in the MOP, I mean, there's some differences in MOP too. There's a little bit different in every expansion. And I've never done it. I've never played. I played Alliance all the time in Classic. That was it. I never played it elsewhere. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, even MOP it has a really decent one where you're running around after Anduin because Varian sends you to go chase him around. So I mean I'm trying not to ruin anything, but are some good bits through that as well.
No doubt.
So.
Man, I'm just so amped up right now.
I know. I'm hyped. I'm so hyped.
So Matt just brought up the Void Elves. So let's talk about the races. You saw all 6 of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've got them down here, and it's going to be interesting for sure.
So what ones are you the most like? What are you the most excited for?
Well, scroll up here. Let me just scroll up here. I'm excited to see. Kind of like all of them for sure. I think it would be more interesting to talk about is what ones I'm kind of disappointed at, because there's only really one.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that it's the High Mountain Tauren, because I've always wanted it to be the Tauren from Northrend, because I think they've got an interesting model, they've got an interesting story, and they pretty much already joined the Horde.
Right,
so
that's true.
I always wanted the Tonka, because their whole thing was destroyed. It would make a really interesting tie-in with the awesome story from Wrath, and it would get us, we'd get a different, because the High Mountain Tauren are Tauren with antlers. Right? They're essentially the same model, but the Tonka have a very different model, and I guess the reason they went with the High Mountain was because, of course, the Tonka Tauren models are still the old models.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Whereas the High Mountain ones are all the new high-res models. So,
well, it's interesting one way or the other. Sorry to cut you off, but like the idea here is that they're going to expand on that. You caught that, right? Like that this is not going to be the only 6 there.
A whole bunch more after.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another thing, of course. If you're going to do one offshoot for every race, the one that it gets me thinking is, if they're going to do an offshoot to humans, does that mean we're going to bring the Vrykul in?
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks. Yeah,
because that's what humans are. We're an offshoot of Vrykul, so can we bring it back the other way? Which would be interesting. I'm also kind of interested to see how they're going to bring in, of course, Lightforged Draenei and Dark Iron Dwarves and Zandalari Trolls, but I was kind of interested that Alaria went over to the Alliance and the Nightborg went over to the Horde. I had kind of pegged it the other way around.
Yeah, right? that's what I don't know. So this is like I said, they talked about so much shit today, but they didn't actually close Legion, so we don't know how this happens. But Ian Hazzikosis said something that I don't know if he realizes is probably one of the biggest spoilers that was made today. He said that the Void Elves are going to be on the Alliance side because the rift between Illyria and Sylvanas and her other sisters has deepened even further. But the last time we see them in game right now, her and Varisa or whatever are acting quite chummy. So obviously something happens at the end of this expansion,
Oh yeah, you're quite right.
Yeah. So I think what probably happens here is the 3 of them meet up somewhere. Maybe it's in Lordaeron, who knows? But they probably meet up somewhere because there's voice files saying that they will after Argus is dead. and they probably say like, hey there guys, it's Varisa, and they, you know, they talk about whatever, and Sylvanas is like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I'm about to go beat the shit out of Teldrassil right now, and that causes some, you know, like, you know, something like that. Like the war that's about to happen starts with these three, you know?
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, and I know you're not a big guy for the books, but the book where they try Garrosh.
Oh, I read that one. That's the only one I read.
And Sylvanas actually got together and went to go try and kill him.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's the only one I read.
pulled back at the last minute.
Yeah.
Right? So there's already a bit of a rift between Sylvanas and Varisa.
Yeah.
If there's one between Ilaria and Varisa, so we haven't seen that. You're entirely right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he said a couple things today, and like the new battleground, I don't know, I think you probably saw that too. That was earlier in the day. The new battleground takes place in Silithus, and like it's clear that something's completely fucked up in Silithus based on the map of this battleground. So like,
where he goes, I don't know why they chose to fight over that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's a couple things like that throughout the day.
Man, I got to go look at Silithus. I haven't, because I've heard some people talking about this big scar in Silithus, and I haven't seen it. I got to go see that, man.
Well, oh wait, is it? No, it wouldn't be in until after we beat the raid, right?
Oh yeah.
It's in the files, so you can look at it on the model viewer or whatever. But like, yeah, like that's gonna be like after we beat. It's gonna be like the cinematic where we we like combined the worlds and went to Argus in the last raid. The new one's gonna be, I assume, you know, he hits the world with whatever. So
maybe that scar is where the world soul of Argus lands, comes through the rift and lands in Silithus, and when he's dead.
Well, yeah, so I guess something like that. Well, I thought you were gonna say something else. Like, so it seems like Sargeras or Argus or somebody like attacks the planet, and that's the damage that was done by the attack. And then the world soul of Azeroth is the gold shit all around it that we saw in that image. So it's actually leaking out, like she's bleeding to death, you know?
Gotcha.
So that's why, you know, some people said
Makes
that
sense.
we're going to go there with the artifacts and be like, hey, here, take these items and close this wound for you, kind of thing. So I guess that might make sense.
Yeah, and of course, that's where all that Argorite or whatever it's called is going to be, yeah. Let me ask you this, because I've got it in my notes. Did the zones that they previewed really remind you of anything? Because several of the zones, they really gave me a vibe of different ones. Like, the 3 zones in Kul Tiras reminded me very heavily of Darkshore, Gilneas, and Valley of the Four Winds.
Definitely, I agree. Yep, 100%. Those are the exact same theory I was thinking of.
And the Zandalarian ones, you know, it was a lot more diverse. Like
God, I love that shit, dude. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be Horde. When they announced when they announced that there was going to be this split and like the Alliance was going to have Kul Tiras, I was like, fuck, man, Alliance is probably going to be where it's at next expansion. And then they showed, I love the troll stuff. You guys know this shit. I'm all about ZG. I love the troll stuff. I'm probably going to play a troll if they actually allow the troll one to be a Death Knight. Right now, it's not on the Warcraft, the official website. It shows what classes these races could be too. I don't know if you saw this, but so far, there's only 4 of the 6, and none of them have Death Knight on there. So I was bringing this up, and people were like, lol, they can't be Death Knights. Death Knights were created when Lich King was still around. I was like, fuck you. I want to play a troll Death Knight, man. Come on with this nonsense. But
I know. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. No, I was so much more impressed with the Zandalarian ones, too, because they don't just look like clones of those areas. Like, the first one looked like, to me, all the trolls areas put together, and the second one was kind of like the Pandar and Bug place, but with trolls instead of Mantid, and the third one was like, felt to me like Silithus, but with snakes instead of Karaji. You know?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I forgot that one was like a desert, right? Yeah, I forgot about that one.
For sure. And they all felt really reminiscent, but the Zandalarian ones impressed me a lot more than the Kul Tiras ones. So the Kul Tiras ones seemed like direct ripoffs, where the Zandalarian ones had more of a feel to them. But
I like it. I like the troll ones. One way or the other, like I like the horror ones better. So I'm happy. I'm happy that the races we get are cool. I don't know what's gonna happen with my character. I don't know if I'm even gonna be playing DK, whatever. But I would like to play them. But one way or the other, leveling changes, crazy new lore and zones, and these sub race things equate to me having a lot more to fucking do in this game. Let's put it that way. So
We are going to play the crap out of the scenarios, man. The island expeditions.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That alone, I cannot wait. Oh, but I forgot to fucking tell you. Oh my god, the best thing about this, yeah, the best thing that they said about this was that they're gonna have high level AI, like high intelligence AI, not like level in game level, and it's going to get harder based on the difficulty. So, yet again, they have 4 difficulties. Not my favorite thing, but regardless, there's going to be normal, heroic, and mythic of these island scenarios. And, like, the mythic ones, the AI is going to be super smart. Like, they said that they're going to, like, CC us and run away from us and shit like that. Like, stuff that the AI cannot do in Legion at any stretch of the imagination. But then there was actually the 4th difficulty was straight PvP. So it's going to be me, you, and somebody else against 3 actual players. And wow. Oh, that's just so crazy. I can't wait for that.
That's going to be insane.
It sounds really fun. That sounds way more fun than actual Battlegrounds right now, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm so psyched for that. That's going to be insane. I'm telling you, man. We're going to play the shit out of that. One thing I didn't see, I saw that they said something about Mythic Keystone changes, but I didn't see them say what you wanted from it, where you get to choose, what dungeon you go to. You're not assigned an arbitrary one. Did they change that?
No, they didn't say much about the keystones. What they did say was that they're going to expand like the searching function. So like if you want to just search by key, like the actual number instead of the actual dungeon, that's going to be up there. They said that they're very satisfied with the dungeon system, as how it works now. But what I expect to see from Mythic Plus is more fixes, maybe a change to how the timer works, one way or the other. But that's what I'm saying. Like today was cool. We got a lot of info about this expansion, but the stuff they announced, like I said, even if it's just that same shit that's in Legion all in this expansion, I'm still gonna be in love with it. You know what I mean? I didn't need this big bomb to be dropped on me to be satisfied with whatever 8.0 is. So like the stuff that they announced today, I'm not that hyped for, but I'm still like, as long as Mythic Plus is in the goddamn game, man, I'm like, come on, man, let's rock,
And no Mythic Plus raids?
Yes, they didn't say anything about raids. Oh, actually, they said about the first raid. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw something about the first raid and the second one. The second one, Queen Azshara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that?
And the first one, yeah.
That's a bit weird, though, because if Queen Azshara is going to be the boss in the beginning of the raid, in the expansion, then what the fuck is going to be the end of the expansion?
I don't know, man. It's like I said in that predictions video, we don't know what she even is. So we don't know what the end big bad guy of this expansion is. What the final boss is. So, maybe as we progress through these raid tiers and we kill Queen Azshara, we find a bigger threat. She leads us to another old god. She leads us to something that's void, that's going to eventually take us against the void, into the void. Who knows? It's just going to be amazing.
It's probably how it's going to go down, to be fair. Like, even though they didn't explicitly say it's about old god stuff, she's got a pretty big old god tie, right? Like, I think it was you who said that you think that she's actually, like, aligned with the old gods, if not an old god, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I say, when they talk about what happened in the original War of the Ancients, one of the 3 big lieutenants of Sargeras, Manroth, he grabs her arm, and for the first time in his entire life, he knows fear.
Oh yeah, that was you said that in that video. Yeah, that's legit. That's really good.
So I mean, she is more powerful than demon lieutenants, like guys right under Sargeras.
Mm-hmm.
And she can actually make them feel fear. She has to be something connected with a void.
Yeah,
something old god.
That's right.
Or she has to be something else completely.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
That we've never encountered.
I think that might be why we haven't seen her until now, man. I really do. Like, I think the reason that they haven't brought her in a prior expansion is because they had big-ass plans for her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They've got big-ass plans. They've got something. She's a hook to something.
Yeah, no doubt.
She's going to be pulling us along to something amazing. And just when we talk about Legion and no big bomb, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's what I'm saying. You know what? The more I even think about it, the more it's like, yo, you know what? And I guarantee there's going to be all kinds of people already complaining about it. But like, my official stance on this is that if literally they did nothing except add new zones and new story and stuff, and there was no new big features, that'd be fine, because Legion is perfect. There's 1 or 2 things wrong with it, and one of them's leveling, and they're already fixing that. So it's like, I really feel like, unfortunately, this next expansion is going to be received like another Cataclysm, because it's going to, it's not really going to make big iterations like MOP and WoD did, and even, or not WoD, what the fuck did I just say WoD? MOP and Legion. made big iterations and big expansions on the actual tech in the game. I don't expect that to happen. But
like I say, yeah, totally. They don't need to. You know, like I say, they're change. The only things they're fixing is what's wrong. You know, they're fixing these little things.
Especially like if that's the legendary is answered by this Heart of Azeroth, we're ready to go, man. I'm ready to rock. That's so great. That's exactly what I would have wanted. And like I said, you really got to watch that panel when you can, because like the diversity is actually gear related. Like he made a very explicit point of saying that. Like he's like, oh, you guys probably think, oh, great, more RNG, but it's not actually random. It's set per piece of gear. So the only thing that will be slightly random is that, you know, there's all these different pieces of gear that can drop. So like you'll learn to know which pieces are the ones you want, you know, but it's going to be random at first because you're going to have to figure out which chest, like there's going to be like 9 chest pieces from the 10 dungeons probably, you know, so you're going to have to find which one you want. But after that, I'm going to be targeting, you know, Kazan Mythic 10, let's rock, here we go, because it's got that fucking relic I need, or, you know, this just chest piece I need to get those, to get Mad Big Umbilicus, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that, so.
Exactly what you're saying. It's going to be, it's one of those things that, again, is going to make it tough for alts, but at the same time, they've got so much stuff in there for alts. All these, the alternate races, the new leveling, all this stuff is going to be tailored towards alts, but it's going to be harder to do alts because there's so much stuff coming.
Right, that's what I'm saying, dude. There's just so much in the game. But the thing about alts is, it's like, I had that same qualm with the beginning of Legion, right? Like when I was on the beta, I was like, oh god, we're fucked. But then, you know, look at where we're at now, right? My paladin is fucking, he's like 38, you know, 730 or 938 or whatever, you know. Like he is almost as geared as my DK, and I barely play him. So you could tell, like maybe the beginning is gonna suck for alts, but by the end, it probably won't even matter.
And the thing about that is the beginning isn't for alts anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
The beginning is for your main because there's so much to do, so much story to do, so much to explore, so much power to get before the raid comes out.
Yep.
Who cares about alts at the beginning?
I agree. It's good shit. So, do you have anything else that you want to talk about with that expansion?
No, not really. I was just going to think...
Oh, there was one other thing, actually. They announced in that deep dive panel that there's a big social change coming. So the way it's going to work now is, like, there's still guilds as kind of, like, the king tier of social structures, but then there's going to be some, like, duke tier social structures that you're going to be able to form, like, basically, like, smaller type communities where, you know, like, say... I raid with the guild every Tuesday and Wednesday, but on the weekend I do a bunch of stuff with the stream, right? So we could all have a stream community where we're all in a guild together, just the stream viewers. It's like a separate guild from one, you know? It'd be one legion, something like that. And then there could be like one where, you know, you and your alliance or your arena buddies, you know, the guys you do PvP with, they have their own like 5-10 person guild kind of thing. And there's going to be a fully integrated voice chat with this. And there's going to be like the Discord like features that we've been talking about. Like it's like a chat, like a full chat page. You can, you know, people have been talking for hours. You can scroll up and see what they were saying, even though you're not even like in the game or whatever. And I guess what that means is like, you know, you basically can make more than one guild. So I think that's cool. And then the quick join, they said about the quick join, like if somebody joins from one of your communities, you're going to be able to hop right in with them, etc. And there's going to be like calendar tech or something like that. I can't remember what they said about this, but like, yeah, it's going to be the calendar tech is going to be like for the community itself. Like if I want to make a community event, anybody who's in the community will automatically get the calendar. And if they leave the community, then it'll automatically be removed, you know, something like that. So.
Oh, wow. Which makes sense because they've made all those improvements in 7.3.2 to the social functions of the launcher.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually talked about earlier in the day. I don't know if you saw that panel. It was actually like a full Blizz social thing about the actual launcher. And they were basically like, hey, we really like Discord. It'd be a shame if something to happen to it. So, yeah, they're just going right for Discord. It's unfortunate. I don't know how successful they'll be, but one way or the other, yeah, that's what they're after. So, and they said you're going to be able to make like guilds on the launcher too. Like I keep saying guilds, but they're basically just communities. So like we want to have a Discord for one legion, whatever. Well, now you can do that in the BattleNet launcher, and it'll actually show you your history. Like, so if somebody adds me, you know, if like some random guy adds me, I have no idea why he's adding me. So I can click on his thing and it'll show me like what game he's been playing, or if maybe we played together in a game. It's like, oh, I got him from Hearthstone. I thought maybe he was a WoW, you know, something like that, you know. So yeah, some good tech coming overall to the BattleNet stuff.
You know, I already created about a week, 2 weeks ago, I created a community in the Battle.net launcher for my stream guys.
Oh, you did it. Cool.
People in my streams. And one of the things that people had said in it was, well, why can't we have a Discord server? And my answer to that has always been, I created this so people in my community, people in my streams could play together, could do things together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, kind of validates it, that they're making it so you can have these side communities, these Duke level communities. And I think that's just awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, one way or the other, I think it's good, right? No matter what, like, we're getting progression. That's for sure, like, in terms of how it's going to work. So, all right, so...
we'll get this Discord boss down yet one of these days.
I like this. That's the thing. I just... Discord's great. Like, there's no reason to worry about anything else. But anyway, so that's pretty much everything that I had to say for this expansion part of this topic here. So if there was nothing else that you wanted to talk about, I'd say maybe we open it to some Q&A from the streams if anybody has anything to ask. There's been a ton of people. I didn't want to keep cutting you off and answering their questions. So if anybody in my stream chat has any questions that they really want our opinions on, go ahead and post them. We'll give you guys a couple minutes. We'll keep talking. And then yours
absolutely.
too.
While we're waiting for that, we'll talk about vanilla servers maybe.
Well, no, I want to wait because, dude, like this is obviously something I'm really passionate about. I have a lot that I wanna talk about. So
Sure.
I'm really excited about 8.0 though, one way or the other. Like, so I don't want anybody to think, especially people maybe aren't aware that I was streaming Elysium, whatever it was called at the time, like so heavily invested in the community. I still am to this day, even though private servers completely suck fucking dick. So this is the best thing that could have happened today. It's a win-win. Everything's good,
Absolutely, Obi-Wan. Absolutely. I just want to tell the people in my stream, I just opened the stream chat for my stream. I didn't have it open because I really wanted to concentrate on what Metro was saying. So if you have any questions for us and you're in my stream, but by all means, post them in the stream chat now. We'll get to them as well.
Okay, so one guy, obviously Legendary Bronze, asked a question about Classic. We'll talk about that at the time. Guildmaster says, do you think the intelligent NPCs will be applied to Battlegrounds in the future as well? I don't know. It's a very important piece of tech that's coming to the game, though, one way or the other. The fact that they're going to be able to make PvP-like NPCs is a big fucking deal, because obviously if you remember Wrath of the Lich King, when there was that faction champs boss, that was kind of a joke, right? So how do you feel about that? You're obviously just hearing about it now, but like intelligent NPCs, how do you think about that?
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love it because it's advancing the game. If you look at raids, we've talked before about how, people talk about how hard vanilla was compared to now. Well, it's a different type of hard, but they've been advancing stuff like adding new mechanics, adding new things. And the AI that they're putting in, it's another way of advancing the difficulty.
That's actually a really smart. You just said something very intelligent. I'm really happy you said that, because that's true. This has actually been the logical endpoint for this anyway. People don't seem to realize that, but in Classic, the mobs just punched you. Punch, bonk, bonk, and that was it. Now we got more mechanics on AI, and now we have AI that could actually use these mechanics intelligently. Oh, and part of what they said about the AI was that they're going to be able to form like walls and prevent you from getting in and shit. Like, say like maybe there's a death knight one, he's gonna try to grip you away from the objective, or there's a guy with a knockback, he's gonna try to knock you away from the objective, shit like that. Like, it's that smart. Like, it's basically players.
Absolutely. It's interesting because, like you say, it's the natural progression of how you add difficulty.
Yeah. So another question that was asked here is, do you think there will be a replacement progression item to replace artifact weapons? Is you, Dane? I think obviously that's the Heart of Azeroth. I don't know if you guys didn't see that or what, but I'd say the Heart of Azeroth, all signs point to, is effectively replacing the artifact, the talent tree thing that everybody wanted, and the actual legendary system. Now, there's no confirmation about the legendaries, but I have a feeling based on what they said in the deep dive about how gear is now going to be customizable, that there'll be absolutely no reason to have legendaries in the game anymore. And that is going to complete all three of those systems, round them off quite nicely, especially, the talent tree thing, because Ian actually said that he liked that, beginning in September, whenever the Legion launched last September, the the customization that was nice for the first few weeks, but then everybody just got the points, and that's kind of dead. So that's kind of what they're after here. So I definitely think the Heart of Azeroth, new legendary artifact neck, whatever you want to call it, is definitely the way forward there. How do you feel about that, Cop?
I totally agree. And one of the things that I find interesting is it reminds me of the and I hate to use this word, but the aborted Path of the Titan system, which is kind of why
That's
everybody
exactly
was
what it
talking about it. You know, it's a customizable way of combining the artifacts to the legendaries to all this extra gearing system, and really quite cool.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I really do. That level of customization is something people have always asked for. Once again, under the guise that Classic actually had this customization, it does not. So this is a much better system, and especially since it's tied to actual gear pieces, it's a win-win, man. I can't wait. That's more exciting to me. Good.
It's so much better than going back to and I hate to cut you off, but it's better than going back to what people have been complaining about. Oh, the talent system's so much better back. It really it wasn't. Because everybody had to take the exact same talents. Nothing else was competitive.
Right. Yeah, like when you make these new item, like whatever options here, more about the way you play your class, and this was explicitly spoken about in the deep dive. He said they want them to change the way you play your character, not to change the way your character plays. So like they want your damage to stay the same no matter what you pick, but, maybe now you have an ability that allows you to do something you wouldn't have had before, or something that alters maybe one of your talents in a way that, that talent, I used to hate that talent, but now that it maybe does this instead, well, we're ready to rock. I'm trying to take that talent, so yeah, that's pretty good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes it so that there's more that is optional. There's more that you can decide. I want this instead of this. More customizable, absolutely. Yeah. And I lately I've been looking at how I play my main and trying out different talents just to see. And I find the ones now even that people recommend aren't necessarily the ones that give me the best throughput because of the way I play my class.
Yeah,
and I like the idea that they're steering into that.
All right, so I got a lot of questions here. I'm trying to get through them all here. TrueMoo asked, will each faction lose a main city? So just all we know so far, TrueMoo, is that Teldrassil will be attacked by Sylvanas, and in retaliation, or perhaps one of the two is in retaliation, I'm not sure which, Undercity is going to be stormed by the Alliance. So you agree with that, right, Cop? You didn't see anything otherwise?
Yeah, no, and that's exactly, and they even specifically said which one is a response to which we don't know yet, because it's going to be something that they go out. Pardon me, that they show later.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see. That definitely 8.0 leads into that for sure, or whatever, like the pre-patch leads into that for sure. So let's see. What do you think of the new UI? Yeah, did you see the new UI?
Not really. I kind of saw a little bit of the only new UI I saw was when they were showing the new artifact neck, and I noticed there was some differences in the character screen, but that's about all I saw.
Yeah. So it's there's really not a lot to talk about, to be fair. It's just compact. It's kind of like if it's an add-on. I think add-ons have done this anyway. You know how there's like the main bar is over to the left, and then there's like the options, like your talent pane and your character pane and your exit pane. All that's usually over to the right. Well, now it's been like compacted, so the spells are all on bars in the middle of the screen, right on the bottom. The experience is under them, and then off to the right in like a smaller area are your bags and your achievement points and your LFG tool and all that. So
yeah, and I mean the Blizzard has done that pretty much every expansion. When it comes out, they'll have new features that are essentially just what the most popular add-ons were doing in the previous expansion. Like we've got the one right now that allows us to automatically get all our mail, all the attachments from the mail that's part of the base that used to be an add-on.
Yeah, so that's kind of what this is. It's nothing too surprising. It doesn't look any different. So what do I think about it? It's fine. It doesn't change the way I play the game. The only thing I'm worried about here is these pictures. People are playing it from the alpha. There's no third and fourth bar, which is definitely either a mistake or something seriously wrong, because if you don't have those extra bars, then they've completely fucked the way the game plays. So hopefully that's not the case. But anyway,
and I mean, it could just be that they've been very restrictive in what they've allowed people to see
Yeah,
at the
hopefully.
BlizzCon and what they've allowed them to customize BlizzCon for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Fizzle asks, did they say anything about add-ons? No, I don't know why they would. They didn't say anything about add-ons. Let's see, a couple good questions.
Fizzle over on my stream actually asked if they've done anything to update transmog like badges to customize how the transmog system works. I haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, see, stuff like that it's too specific, you know. It's not going to come out in BlizzCon. They don't have time to talk about that stuff, you know. But it's probably going to happen, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of tech changes anyway with 8.0. So just because they weren't announced at BlizzCon doesn't mean that there's not anything to consider.
Absolutely, for sure.
So let's see, a couple other things. Where is it? Where somebody says, where are the blood elves in the cinematic? That I thought that was an interesting question, right? Because they weren't actually there.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Blood elves weren't there. I saw Draenei there. I saw
there were Draenei,
pretty much every alliance race there.
Yeah.
But you can see the blood elves.
Gnomes, to be fair.
Oh, what's up? Oh, no gnomes. Is that what you just said?
There was no gnomes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh yeah.
No gnomes either, man.
Fuck. No gnomes. I didn't even think about that. Rip.
No, we need a punt. Oh man.
That would have been too comical. They had to keep it serious, right?
Well, plus they had Chromie in that vanilla.
Oh yeah. Did you guys already talk about the stat squish?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, looks like it's a pretty severe one. Looks like 110 is going to be like TBC, so it's pretty nuts.
Again, who knows if that's even where they're ending up with it? They've shown stuff like that before that has not come through. We're going to get a stat squish. I don't know if it's going to be quite that severe.
Yeah, did you see anything new, Banana? Because I'm just going off info that I saw today. I don't know if there's been new.
Nah, just been watching stream.
Yeah, it was like it's pretty severe. Like there was only like 1K stam. I just logged on my TBC character who I just got fresh 70 on Warmane or whatever. It only had 500 stam. So yeah, it's like 1,000 stam is like mid TBC. It looks like. So I assume
I'm just
like
curious how that's gonna work for previous expansions.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what we've been talking about here. Because if they're trying to make like a linear scaling from old expansions, that will actually subsequently make leveling harder. Because that's like the big thing right now. It's like leveling is so easy because you get this overpowered gear before you were supposed to get it in the expansion. But now if all the gears like incremental increases, you know what I'm saying? And like eye level 200 is the start of 120 stuff, then yeah, that makes the old 110 levels where you gain 1 item level per, you know? You gain a lot less stats.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure. It's interesting how they're trying, because if that squish, and again, I don't see how they can justify that because you're getting almost too much, and they've got to balance that against people who solo old content.
Yeah, dude, Painbow already fucking he's bitching up a star. That was the first thing he said to me when I logged on today.
Oh, he's pissed about the scaling?
He was like, oh, the scaling. Oh, you were right. What a shit thing. I was like, dude, come on, man. It's gotta happen.
Affect him though, right? Because if you're 110,
I don't know.
You can go to Ultimate, and it's going to be scaled
you could
to
still
the max
do Ultimate,
level
yeah.
for that expansion, though.
I don't know what they're hoping for, but one way they.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that they don't like the whole world to be scaled because.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I would have rather to go all the way up. So he got the milder version of it. I would rather be able to do Ultimate at level 110. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have been the better option if you could actually go 1 to 110 in just classic zones. That would be way better than going, because the problem I find is like the jumps from classic to TBC make no fucking sense. You're going backwards in the history of the game, so it doesn't.
Oh yeah, so it's a lore nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. So I was hoping that they would just make it so you could level in whatever zones you wanted, and there would be a minimum, so you can start in Jade Forest or something like that. But anyway, they did a great job with it. I'm not worried about it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I was one that was for scaling at the very least all the dungeons up to max, so that maybe you can't use them to progress in Battle for Azeroth, but you could at least still do them and get something out of it.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's it. Doesn't seem like there's some people were talking about artifact armor. I guess you guys are talking about the Heart of Azeroth, how it's going to affect some pieces. I didn't catch exactly whether it was going to affect all pieces. I guess probably not. I think they had the image on the screen. It showed like a couple, like 3 pieces. Somebody said 3 unconfirmed pieces would be affected.
I think what he actually said was at 3 to 4 pieces at most.
Yeah.
Something like that is what it would affect.
Right, just like legendaries. I think it's, like I said, it's just, the way I look at it, it's a 1-to-1 replacement. So Zachary Mittman says, what do you think about the world PvP features? What do I think about them? Here's what I fucking think about them, all right? Guess what? There's people who say, there are people already saying, RIP World PvP 2018. Well, guess what? You're wrong. It's RIP Ganking 2018. Now, you're going to have to actually fucking fight people who want to fight you. You know what I'm saying? It's the best thing that could have ever happened. The best change that could have ever happened in this video game. Because now, people who actually just want a quest and don't have time for this nonsense, like I did when I was trying to play on Classic, aren't going to have to worry about these idiots who are wasting their own time attacking you. But sometimes, like, I like to go fight people in Legion. Those people actually want to fight back, and it won't just be me one-shotting them with Soul Drinker. You know, I think it's a good thing all around.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is that they say, well, why do you play on a PvP server? It's like, well, that's because that's where all the players are.
Ian said that at length. You know, like, you just because you're playing a PvP server didn't mean you've signed up to PvP constantly. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
How about Cop? What do you feel?
Absolutely. And I've said that for a long time. The only reason I'm on a PvP server is because that's where my friends are. Yep. That's the only reason I'm on it. I don't want to PvP more PvP. Moreover, I've accidentally gotten myself ganked so many times by using an AoE when I'm out doing a world quest or something, and 3 or 4 alliance will jump on me.
Right, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, on a PvE server, you mean?
On PvP. No, because, I mean, if I'm on Fire Tree and I'm going to do a world quest where it's kill this one person, and I threw up Fists of Fury, and there happens to be 1 alliance there that I see and 2 that I don't, that alliance is going to take damage, and all of a sudden he's going to come at me.
Right. Doug Fresh just said the same thing, or accidentally getting one-shot by a rogue, like, you know, somebody who's over-geared and you're just under-geared, and they don't even want to attack you. They're not attacking you on purpose. You're just taking damage from their AoE. That will be solved now. And it's going to be so great for alts, right? Like, I'm happy to fight people on my DK because, as you saw last night, I'm literally unfucking killable. But on my Paladin, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care to fight people. It would be an unfair fight. I cannot win a 1v1 on my Paladin. You know, so I think this is it's good for both people. For people who actually want a PvP and people who just want to actually play the game, everybody wins here.
Absolutely. It's an amazing change. It's something long overdue, and I'm so glad they're bringing it. It's amazing. Absolutely.
So what were they talking about? Like bounties or something? Like, this is going to be incentives to flag PvP?
Oh, yeah. So that's a good question, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. So they said that they're going to give some kind of bonus for choosing to have PvP on. They mentioned experience and reps. Now,
interesting.
Those things don't fucking matter, right, at 120. So I don't know what their purpose is with this, but one way or the other, I think it's quite interesting because if they do that right, there will be probably a lot of people who are actually interested in, you know what I'm saying, like trying to do it all the time. So there'll always be people out there with it if they do it right. If they do it wrong, literally nobody will ever have a PvP flag on. But yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely, and I mean, maybe the experience is just the one that they'll have for people who are leveling. Maybe they'll have a bonus for the factions that we're trying to gain rep with at 120. You know, to people who haven't flagged.
Yeah, it could. I mean, I don't know how big if reps are going to be, but
well, I mean, think about it. If they did that in Legion now, where you got the chance of AP every time you killed somebody,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, people would be killing each other all
yeah,
day.
If there was more AP to be gained or more something, you know, whatever, something else to be gained, then yeah, it would be worth doing, no doubt. Even just AP, like AP is all you need. If there was, you got more AP from doing World Quest, if you got double the AP from doing World Quests when you were PvP flagged, let's put it this way, there'd be a lot of people rolling Blood Death Knights.
Absolutely. Got to get on that proper spec. The Blood Death Knight is the best tank, the best DPS, and the best healer, apparently. At least that's what I heard.
Yeah. So is there any other questions that you saw, Cop?
I saw Fizzle had another one here. Let me just scroll back. What is going to happen to the new rings from the new raid? Well, I imagine they'll just be, we'll outgear them in the new expansion.
The new rings?
He's talking about the Netherlight Crucible legendary?
Or the trinkets?
He says ring, so I don't know what.
Oh, it's gonna be all right, dude. I promise. I don't know what you're talking about. So. Okay, so a lot of people. Seems like a lot of people are in my chat at least because they know my reputation of classic. So we good. We good to move on.
Absolutely, I'm good to move on if you're
Okay.
good.
I'm very
No,
excited.
the ring is the Netherlight Crucible from the quest.
Oh, that. Of course, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I have no idea, dude. I don't. It's like, it's just gear. It's gonna go away. That's the answer. So anyway, I'm obviously like, just one more time, I want to bring this up. I'm very excited for 8.0. Like I said, even if they didn't announce a single thing new, tech-wise, I would still be in love with the game. But Classic, I started playing the game the night it came out. I'll always remember this with fondness in my heart. And a good amount of the reason I like Classic is because of that. It's not a great product. It really is not. There's so much wrong with it, as you'll repeatedly remind, or you'll repeatedly remember me reminding you of when I was used to stream Classic all the time. So I am not somebody who still plays it to this day, mostly because of how terrible the community of private servers has become. So when they announced that Classic World of Warcraft, and in the most marvelous way, by the way, when J. Allen Brack walked out today, I was like, oh, they're announcing Classic server. Sweet. You know, like 100% chance the second he walked out, because that dude does no press. You cannot find an interview of this dude outside of Blizzcon. After that shit from 4 years ago, whatever it was, he embarrassed the fuck out of himself. He's a living meme. He does not want to fucking appear anywhere. Nobody wants him to appear anywhere. So when he walked out today, I was like, oh, guess I was wrong. But I could not be happier. But what we have to talk about today is the fact of actually what they said. All right. Some people are already massively confused about what they actually said. It's an unfortunate thing, but all they basically said was, we hear you. We're going to do it. That's it. They didn't say it's coming out. They didn't have anything to talk about afterwards. There was literally no talk about it at BlizzCon afterwards. It's actually done very smart, if you ask me, because they brought it out first. It was the first thing that was said in the entire WoW section. It was immediately after the Overwatch cinematic, which was spectacular. So Brack had his hands full to even try to get the crowd's interest. You know, that cinematic was spectacular. So the first thing he did was tell people about Classic. And if you watch the reaction in the crowd, man, it wasn't that impressive. I don't know if you guys saw that live or what, but when he announced it, I was like, if somebody hit me in the face, but the crowd was like, yeah. So I don't know. I think you're going to see the truth of it, man. I really do. I think you're going to see that a large percentage of the gamers in 2017 will not like Classic, but it is happening one way or the other. And it could be years. It could be days. Who knows? But there was an interview that was also released today. I assume was done earlier, or maybe it was done today as well. But two main things were brought up. All right. J. Allen Brack confirms that they're looking for the most authentic version of Classic as humanly possible. And they're doing this by not making it themselves. Okay. So this is a very important delineation here to be made.
What?
Okay. Yes. Blizzard is not, what I should say is, Ian Hazukosis, he is not making Classic, okay? He is not.
Right.
Like the people who make Legion and now 8.0 and onward, they are not making this server, okay? They are not doing this. It's an entirely new team that they're bringing in, okay? And they said the second thing that's very important is that they're going to be hiring people specifically for this, meaning they have not started. It's just a commitment to do it. So the first thing that I want to talk about, they're probably hiring Nostalrius.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I read that. I was like, who else are they going to fucking hire? So what do you guys think? They're going to probably hire private server like people who run private servers. Would you agree?
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. Copy there?
Absolutely. Sorry. lost my thing there for a second. Yeah, no, absolutely. They've got to hire Nostalrius, but the thing of it is, I love it because they've essentially killed private servers by doing it. And they've saved us from all these toxic, not only toxic communities of it, but all these toxic practices as well doing it. It's made it so much nicer for the people that actually want it, that it's going to make the entire community nicer, I think. At least that's just what I'm seeing from it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we could talk about this at length. Somebody says they were hiring for D2 and Warcraft 3 back in June. They already redid StarCraft, so if you think they haven't already hired for WoW is a joke, well, I'm just telling you what the article says, dude. So, I mean, if you think J. Allen Brack's lying to the person who was interviewing him, then that's one thing, but I don't know. But one way or the other, I don't expect that it's started, is my point. So, I don't care if they already hired the people from Nestarius or not, right? I think they're fucking hiring the people from Nestarius. And I could easily say now that, like, remember the drama that went down where Nestarius split, like, randomly, seemingly for no reason. Do you remember this? I think that's why. I think that's why. I think that they were approached by Blizzard and they're like, listen, we're going to make this happen. We need you on board. And they're like, all right, we're on board, but we got to pull out from the shit that we just did. You know what I'm saying? So.
And I think the important part of that, too, becomes Nestarius was the absolute best version of a classic server that we've ever seen in the private server scene. And I think it's important to bring the people who did that into the fold and do it right inside of Blizzard.
Oh, yeah, so some Gutler Elysium, somebody's claiming to be part of the project. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody knows anything, like I said, that's what I'm wanting to hear. I'm wanting to hear from the guys from Nestarius, because if they're like, oh, yeah, no, we didn't know about this either, or if they're just going to be like, oh, no, we can't talk about it, you know, I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point. Like, who else would they get? I mean, literally, I don't know, unless they're going to get old raiders or something, like Kungan or some shit like that, people who played in Classic to help with it. I don't know, but I don't know who would know better on how to do it than Nestarius. So,
well, here's a problem that I was thinking about is because I don't know if they were, you just said that they weren't gonna make any changes. I didn't know that, but what I was gonna say was either they make some like quality of life changes and change it a little bit and people get pissed, or they do it exactly same way as vanilla was back then and people still get pissed because it's so inconvenient. So I'm thinking about how, like, hopefully it's not going to be a paid separate from the regular WoW sub, because I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Very sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 5 or 8 things that I want to talk about here, and that's one of them, so we might as well get right to it. You know, so the discussion immediately, there's already people in my chat saying like, oh, well, yeah, it looks like that's it for WoW then, because everybody's just going to love Classic and play that. Like, I hate to break this to you guys. Most people who play video games in 2017 do not like Classic. It's just a fact, okay? There's obviously a good amount of people, as there's, you know, a high, like 10 or so thousand people on Elysium throughout a day. Even after all the drama, people still stick with it. So that tells you that, you know, there's a good amount of people who play it. But I've already talked about this at length in a video I released yesterday. A lot of those people are playing for the wrong reasons. And I thought that would dissuade Blizzard, but it seems like Blizzard just doesn't even give a fuck at this point. They want to go forward. So I think it's not going to work out well. And in the interview, he actually says whether millions play it or 10 play it, we're doing it and we're going to be satisfied. So I think he's kind of tongue-in-cheek saying like he doesn't expect many people to play it. And I agree. Because the only reason that the private server, like, think about this, right? 10,000 people online at peak maybe is the max right now. It doesn't really have the 10K pop, but even if we give it that credit, okay? 10,000 people playing on Elysium right now. How many of them are playing because it's free? You know, even if you think it's a small percentage, let's say 1,000, you know, 500, whatever, 1,000-ish are playing because it's free. How many of them are in the same region, right? I'd say probably less than a quarter in each region. There's probably less than 2,000 United States, probably about 2,000 to 3,000 European, and a couple thousand, you know, Asia, whatever realms would be. And how many of them are already like World of Warcraft, people who play World of Warcraft like myself? So how many new people are actually going to come to this project? I don't think it's going to be that many. And whether or not like that matters to Blizzard, I'm not sure. But I think we're not going to see, like, it's not going to be as booming as everyone thinks it is. But of course, if it's officially supported, you know, maybe then new people will check it out. But like I said, I already talked to everybody in my guild, 20-some people. And yeah, they're not interested in that at all. Like they know what Classic is, they've played it, and they don't want to go to it. So I think that's the way it is. I'm not sure.
Well, I predict that there's going to be obviously like a huge boom at the start, and I think if you have like Asmongold and all these other streamers that said they would play vanilla if it was officially supported, then I don't know. I don't know if that will. I mean, there's going to be a big boom at the first few days, but I don't know if it's gonna have any sustain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a couple people maybe are confused about what I'm talking about here in my chat. What I'm talking about here is that when you separate, I assume they're not going to allow Chinese players to play on United States servers. Like, this happens on Elysium, and it just destroys the realm, right? What I'm talking about here is splitting these communities up into chunks. So there's a EU, US, whatever. There's not going to be that many people on these realms because already, and people are talking about TBC and Wrath. This is only for Classic, guys. They did not announce Legacy. They just announced Classic. It's literally called World of Warcraft Classic. So people who play TBC on Warmane and shit, they're still going to do that. So anyway, the idea here is probably splitting them up. I imagine, I don't know, maybe they'll do one realm. I can't see it. They don't even, you guys may or not be aware of this, but like the actual EU WoW is not actually related to US WoW. They're run as two separate companies. You cannot interact with them in any way. So I can't see that changing, but maybe it will. There's already talk, Jay Allen Brack in that interview said that this is going to require a whole new client. So it's going to effectively be a new video game. So I don't know, maybe things will change, but at best, I think you're going to see Elysium-like numbers and that's it. Like people who think there's going to be millions of people playing the exact same expansion for years, I think you're delusional, man. I really do. Classic's a great product. You're listening to somebody who loves Classic almost as much as anything I've ever played. So I'm not being like biased here. It's just the way it is. You know, it was a great product 10 years ago, great product 14 years ago, not a great product in 2017. So I think it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely a cool thing that they announced it, but that's the number one thing I want everybody to realize. Yeah, it's going to be great, and they're going to do it one way or the other, but I would not expect it to change much about the WoW landscape.
As I say, I tend to think this is less about making money on it and more about undercutting the illegal servers. You know, because they have an official product for it now, there's no need to go to an Elysium type server where your characters might be gone in 5 minutes, and you might get, might pay for gold, or you might get your gold stolen, or your account, all that. It's about undercutting that and not making money on Blizzard's end.
Yeah, so the Gutter Elysium said it requires either a new server side or client side. Yes, it's because of how they redesign. Yeah, they talked about all that. I think they talked about that in the actual BlizzCon today, but they talked about it in the interview too, that like the code that they used to make Classic is gone. So that's why they're hiring all new people to handle this, because whoever they hire apparently already knows how to do this. That's why I'm almost 100% sure it is going to be private servers, something like that, and people who are making private servers. But one way or the other, I think if it's Blizzard quality, and this is what I've wanted pretty much for years, Blizzard quality private server, effectively. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to be satisfied with it one way or the other. But yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see myself, especially if they stagger the maintenance, I can see myself when we have, say, an 8-hour maintenance on a Tuesday, I can see myself loading up the vanilla server. And
hopefully
just
there won't ever be maintenance for Classic, right? And I wonder how they'll do it. So that's like the next thing I want to talk about. Like, are they going to do it like, like Elysium and Astaris and these servers have done it, where like only MC is out? Because people seem to really like this. I'm not really sure why. I think it makes sense, but if Blizzard's going to do it, they're probably just going to put everything out and say, all right, have fun. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do much maintenance. But maybe, I guess if they're hiring a whole new team, maybe the team will get to decide that. What do you guys think about that?
One thing I noticed when they were talking about it and they announced it is she asked them about, oh, well, you're not going to do the opening of the gates of on Courage. So I don't think they're going to do a progressive where only MC is out to start.
Yeah, I heard that.
I mean, I think you're right. They're just going to put everything out and let people have at it.
Yeah, I hope they don't, though, because there's some problems with that. Even though I used to play on servers like that, when a brand new server opens and Nax is immediately out, I don't think that's healthy. But I don't know. One way or the other, I don't think anybody should be dissatisfied with what they announced today. So the third thing I wanted to talk about was people were already saying like, oh, they're gonna ruin it, lol. Oh, it's all fucking, it's gonna get ruined. They're gonna do all this stuff. So like I said, Jay Allen Brack in the interview said they're committing as much as possible to an authentic Classic experience, exactly as it was then. But they're hiring a whole new team to handle it. So I assume that team will have the creative license to do what they need. We don't know anything about that. But I could easily see them changing some things that would actually be for the better. I've been talking about this on live streams for weeks, if not months, if not years now. There are things wrong with Classic, guys. If you don't think there are, you're a fucking idiot. I have to say that in no plain language, because it's truth. It's not even an opinion. There are things broken about Classic, and one of them is class balance. You know, one of them is the fact that you can't even fucking auto loot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that are not good about Classic. So I will expect changes to be made. I will expect things to make the game more playable in 2017. But what I will not expect changes to are core systems like gearing. There will not be Titan forging. There will not be queuing for dungeons. There will not be, you know, fast travel. You'll still have to play the game as it was in 2004, but it'll be done hopefully with a modern touch to things like maybe even graphics, but I don't know about that. But hopefully to balance, hopefully to like quality of life tech. Those are the two main things, because as it is now, it's quite painful. It really feels like you're playing a game that's broken, a game that's not finished being made. And the thing that always bugged me the most was in patch 1.12.1, they announced or whatever BlizzCon, and then 2 months later, TBC was announced. So like within a few, or TBC was released. So within a few weeks, the game changed in such a dramatic way that you're playing a version of the game that was clearly like a placeholder for the version that was coming up. You know what I'm saying? So everybody who's like, oh, Classic is this perfect version, we don't want anything to change. Well, guess what? A few weeks after the version you're playing came out, TBC came out. You know what I'm saying? Which changed everything. So I'm hoping that they do make some changes, but I would not expect them to make any big, like, huge changes. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, I saw somebody in chat mention about add-ons, but the thing with that is, like, not every gameplay mechanic can be altered with an add-on. Like, there's just no reason for there to be a 3-second cast time on the mount. It just, like, right. What? You know? So
shit like that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem someone else said, too, is the slippery slope. It's like, how do they decide what... Yeah. Is, you know,
and that's what I'm saying. I hope that, you know, with Blizzard's direction, they'll understand. Like, I don't know, man. If you guys really think class balance isn't needed, then I don't know if I want to play with you guys. I really don't, because it's like the most important thing in WoW, if you ask me. Like, if I couldn't play my Blood DK because it was shit, I probably wouldn't even play Legion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the most fucking important thing. So it was fine. Like, I hope that you guys delineate between what was a feature and what wasn't a feature. Because there's things in Classic that were not features. They just didn't know what to do to fix it. I'm telling you that. It's a fact. So class balance, I don't think anybody who made Classic was like, oh, we really, really, really liked Paladins. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't think they were. So I don't know, man.
Well, and I mean, originally Paladins were balanced against the Shamans. So, I mean, both of those were broken because of it. My question is, do you think they're going to do what you especially have been asking them to do, and that is use a level 70 talent system in a vanilla server where you actually get some kind of balance and some kind of playability to all the specs for all the classes?
That's what I'm hoping. Like I said, that's the #1 thing for me. I don't really care one way or the other. I've gotten used to how Classic is. I'm not going to complain if they don't do it, but I would expect them to do it because, like I said, in 2017, if people roll a Paladin and it takes them a month of real time to get to 60, and they find out that their class is shit, you know what I'm saying? That they can only fucking play a certain way. Who's gonna like that? You know what I'm saying? I think that there's ways to make Classic even better than it is, and that's one of them. I don't know why anybody would combat me on that. I really don't. There's things that I don't want them to change, of course, and I've seen people say things like, "Oh, they're gonna add a cash shop." It's like, for what? The fuck, the cash shop in Legion doesn't even have anything that's important in it, you know? So, like, those things are just stupid if you say that. I don't know why they would change it. But, yeah, I think just small buffs, like, I think, you know, say, like, a 5% increase to Paladin damage, you know? So Ret can actually do decent damage. Like, they already do. People are playing Ret at a high level, but it requires something that is not native to the game, you know what I'm saying? Whereas a mage can just spam Frostbolt and do double the damage. That's all I'm saying. Like, that there's ways to fix that. It's not necessarily something that needs to be, like, loved. You don't need to say, like, oh, I loved it. Classic doesn't need to change. I don't know.
I mean, it comes down to no matter what they change, though, they're going to tick off some people, and they're going to make other people very happy.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
why
one
I
of
think.
those
Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's why I think they probably won't. They will probably just won't make any changes. Like if Blizzard isn't, if like the current development team isn't actually involved in this, then it's probably just gonna be a private server. That's the way I look at it. I'm not really sure what they would change. You know what I'm saying? If they would even change anything. Especially if we find out that they end up hiring private server people. Then it seems like I've been trust me, I've been trying to get these fucking people to make updates to Classic all year. Since that shit came out last December, I've been trying to get these people from Elysium and all these other private servers, trying to get these people to make updated Classic, but they won't do it. Everybody wants to live in 2004, so that's what this is for. I think they'll keep it. I think they'll keep it as is,
Well, it makes sense, but I mean, like I say, at that end, then you're completely cutting off any new people who want to play it and are going to come in that way, because then you got everybody living in 2004, and you might even alienate people who want to play the new game and want to try Classic first to see where it came from. Because when they try Classic and it's that broken, they might not want to go on to, Battle for Azeroth level of WoW. I don't know.
Yeah, he mentioned hiring Classic server people. It's worth noting that Viper and Damon have kind of fallen off the radar. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think, yeah, so Nano definitely has it. Obviously, he's still around Reddit and stuff. So yeah, like I said, I think I would love to hear from these people. I really would. If anybody hears from them, please let me know immediately, because I would love to hear what they have to say about this. Those are the people who are more important to me than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? The people who made Nostalrius are the reason that many people are interested in Classic right now. They made a spectacular product, and I expect them to be involved in some way, one way or the other.
Absolutely. As I said, it's the best version of the private server that we got a chance to look at, and it's the one that lasted and brought everybody into it. So it would only make sense to use the people that made that to make the one that's Blizzard sanctioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like Zach said, Classic with fixes to updates. I think there's ways to make Classic the best it can be. And Luller said, did you put any thought to this? Yeah, I've thought about, like I just said, I've been talking about this for over a year now, since I was streaming on Ace Games TV. There are things that are awesome about Classic. There really are. There's some things that even today, as much as I love and play Legion, that I would miss from Classic. But there's things that make me not even want to play it. And on top of those, plus how bad private server communities are, it's like, God damn, I just can't do it, man. I can't bring myself to spend a month of my time leveling a character on a server that might just get shut down or deleted. So I don't really care if they change it at this point. Like I said, I've resigned to the fact that this is how Classic is, and this is how 99% of the people seem to want it. I don't really give a fuck. But I would not be surprised at all if they did make some small changes. And the reason I'm saying this, maybe it wasn't clear, the reason I'm saying this is because some people are already like, oh, Blizzard's gonna ruin it. And that's the shit that pisses me off, because this is a long road. We've all come to this road together. Maybe you guys don't realize it. You don't know who I am. You don't know what we've been doing here for the last year. But we've all made this journey together, all right? Me, everybody who plays Classic, everybody who streams Classic, even people like Alex Sensual, who went backwards in what they could have been doing to provide a legitimate private server community. Everybody who has expressed interest in this have made this possible. If it wasn't for every single one of us, we wouldn't be here. So the fact that people are already trying to denounce it, it's like, goddamn, you're the people who Blizzard shouldn't even listen to. You know what I'm saying? You're basically proving that Blizzard shouldn't even do this. Because if you're saying shit like, oh, they're going to ruin it, or they're going to put a cash shop, like, what the fuck does that even mean? There's not even a cash shop in Legion. What does that even mean? Shit like that is like, goddamn, those are the kind of people that I hope don't play on Blizzard, because I don't want to run into those. Those are private server people. Those are the people I want to avoid. People like who sit in trade chat and post like gay fanfic all day. You've seen that shit on private servers way too often. It's like, man, don't you want to play the game? You know what I mean? Don't you want to actually go out and do something in the world? You're sitting in trade chat all day. So yeah, those are the people who I thought, like I said in that video yesterday, I released yesterday, I was for sure that those are the kind of people that Blizzard was going to see and avoid. They're like, fuck this. We do not want these motherfuckers on our product. But I was wrong. So I'm happy to be wrong for sure.
I think it's rather than seeing those type of people and saying, nope, we don't want any part of it, they're seeing those type of people and thinking, you know, we got all those good people that are stuck with those type of people. Let's help them out. Let's do something that they can play that's sanctioned by us, controlled by us, that eliminates that type of toxicity as much as we do in our current game.
So there's a guy saying that there's been a cash out, but like not like pay to win,
Right.
not like you can buy gear. But I mean, I guess you could argue with WoW tokens, maybe pay to win because you can buy like really high level BOEs on the auction house.
Yeah, I guess
Gold.
that's a good
I
point.
mean, I don't know. It's gray area.
Yeah, it is gray area. I don't know. I mean, I've never done it, and I don't think most people do it, but it would be possible. Now, here's another thing that I want to talk about here is what are they going to do? Like, are you going to actually be able to, is it going to, first of all, is it going to be a separate sub fee? I assume the answer will be no. But if it is, would they allow you to use, like, the gold, you know, to buy a token or something like that? Like, those are the kind of things that I do hope they avoid because it feels like it's a different game when you add that kind of stuff. But things that I would hope that they do is, for example, if they put like achievements in or something that's actually tied to your account, that everybody can see it on the live version of the game, right? So this was the first thing that got brought up. One of my guildies, he is in love with the Black Scarab mount. Obviously, one of the coolest mounts ever. He said, I'm going to get that fucking mount when this shit comes out. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were interested in Classic. He's like, I'm not. I just want that fucking mount on my Demon Hunter. And I was like, well, no, it would be on Classic. He's like, dude, it's account bound. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that, right? Like, so imagine if there was shit that you could earn on the Classic server that you could show off in the real game. You know, I think that would be fucking awesome. I really do. But people will be like, oh, lol, achievements, you know, shit, like they won't want it. But I think that would be so fucking cool if they were able to make, you know, like the full BattleNet integration, if they could make it so like people knew you were playing Classic, like, you know, add that modern, like kind of like, it's kind of like social tech, you know, kind of like showing off kind of stuff. So you know who's doing what, even on the BattleNet launcher, it says Classic, you know, something like that. I think that would be a really good thing for this. I think it would help bring that product into 2017, and it's still like, you know, it doesn't actually change the gameplay of the game. So
I like that. I like the idea that because a lot of things are account bound, you might not have transmog in the vanilla servers, but you still get the appearance for stuff that's not available now in the game on your live characters that you can do. You know, you can go back and you can get that benediction staff or whatever's not available.
Right, and then
now.
have that for transmog on your main. You know, that's
have
what I'm
that
saying.
transmog on your main.
That'd
Absolutely.
be so fucking wicked. It would basically just be like a version of the game within the game. You know what I mean? At that point, it would be like you're playing like a sub game, and all the stuff from that game could still translate to the proper game. I think it'd be awesome.
Absolutely, and it would give people who don't have any other reason to go back and play Classic a reason to go back and play Classic. Like like our guildie there with the mount.
Yeah. He was the first thing I said to him. Like literally, I logged on and he's like, "Dude, we're gonna start a guild in Classic, right?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe." What are you talking about? Like he was all for that bout. I was like, "God damn, you thought this through." I don't know.
Well, the problem with that is that like a lot of those cosmetic like prestige items are like the prestige is that way because you can't get them anymore. So I don't know if being able to necessarily get benediction or Quel'Serrar. I mean, I don't know.
It would still be prestigious because you would have had to get it in Classic, though, right? That's what.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
that's true. That's true, but
And I mean, Classic, it's still so much harder to get stuff like that. It's so much more of a grind because even just leveling is so much more of a grind back in Classic.
Yeah.
Well,
If they still have a lot of prestige.
If they do some kind of like season idea, like you might have mentioned before, Metro, maybe just like a feat of strength, like has reached level 60 in season 1. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think that'd be awesome. I think that's the way they should do it. I don't think they will. The way they announced it, the fact that they did like the rewind of all the, like they went back through all the expansion cinematics, makes me think like they don't give a fuck about TBC at this point, and they're ready to rock with Classic, and maybe they're gonna do, you know, more expansive stuff to make, you know, TBC feel relevant. I don't know, but I don't think there's gonna be like, I think if you're looking to play TBC, you're probably still gonna do it on a private server. But I don't know.
Well, and TBC is still available in the main game, too, so there's not as much of an incentive for them to go back and do that.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, it's the same thing with like classics changed. The classic worlds have changed, but in general, it's like the class balance, shit like that is what most people are interested in. So I don't know. I would hope that they would do, like Banana said, like a season. We talked about this last BlizzCon. I would hope that they did something like that, but I don't know. I don't know what they'll do at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Seasons would be interesting. I mean, again, it comes down to some things that we've talked about before where progression, how are they going to progress? Because at a certain point, when you've done all the content in a vanilla server, you can completely max geared. Well, what's going to happen to that server next? What's going to happen to that character?
You just said this, and now somebody in chat just said this, and it reminds me of something. He said, I'm hoping they go the same route as old school RuneScape, create new content for vanilla that still plays the same as vanilla did. Now, first of all, I did not know they did this for RuneScape, but if they do that for Classic, oh God, we're all set now. People were talking about this. It was like, I don't know, it must have been when Nostalrius was still out, but I think they were seriously entertaining making new content for the game. Like, I think they actually were thinking about, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I remember people talking about this a while ago. And, yeah, imagine if they added, like, new content to Classic. I don't know, man. That would be pretty nuts.
Interesting. They could actually do what people originally thought they were going to do and have an expansion to Classic that wasn't TBC, kind of split it off, maybe do an Emerald Dream expansion.
Something like that, yeah, like a new patch for Classic that expands on it but doesn't change anything, just adds new content. I don't know, man. That's pretty cool. That's a really interesting idea, honestly.
Yeah, it's like I said, because they have to have something. They have to have something to progress it, because otherwise you're going to get a massive imbalance of, you'll have these people who have been on that server since it came out, fully max geared, and then you're going to have somebody who comes along who's just starting on the Classic server, and nobody's going to want to take them into a raid.
No, that already happens, unfortunately. That's not going to change. That's one of the flaws with Classic. Like I said, like there's things that are flawed with Classic. And it's like the disparity of gear between Nax and MC is huge. If you think the disparity between gear in Legion is bad, which it's definitely worse, but Classic has one of the worst because there's no like middle catch-ups. You still have to do the raids. You know what I mean? Like ZG is the best you're going to get in AQ20, 20-man raids. You still have to do raids that are on a lockout, like a periodic lockout, to be able to get caught up, to be able to do, you know what I'm saying, to actual raids. So that's actually a pretty serious problem. I don't want them to fix that. I think that's iconic about Classic, how every raid is relevant for somebody. You do MC, then you have to do BWL, then you have to do AQ, etc. I wouldn't want them to make a catch-up, but if they do add new content, it'd probably be, or it'd make it even worse. So I don't know. It's interesting. One way or the other, I'm pretty excited. Like I said, this is something I've been thinking about. You guys don't know, but I've been trying to get people to conform to this idea for a long fucking time, and I'm glad I didn't even have to work on it because it seems like Blizzard was down from it from the get-go. They probably were down from it from last BlizzCon. They just weren't ready to announce anything. So I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed by this.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. It's going to be one of those huge things that, man, I just can't wait. There's so much good stuff.
Today was a crazy day. That's all I could say, man. It was like, I even now I still feel like weird. Like I said yesterday. I said this yesterday on live stream. It was like 9 o'clock at night or something. I was like, in 24 hours, everything we know about World of Warcraft, like the way I approach World of Warcraft, will change. And this was before. This is when I was sure that they were not going to announce Classic. So the fact that they did, it's like, man, it changes everything. Like any interest I had in playing on a private server, like because I wanted to play Classic, that's gone. Never gonna fucking log on a private server again now. I don't give a shit if it takes them 2 years to make this shit. I'm waiting, because the number one reason I hate playing on private servers is because people seem to want to restart constantly and they want to go from server to server to server. So I've leveled probably close to 10 characters now on private servers, and pretty much none of them are playable anymore. I have 5 characters on Anathema, and that server has, what, 1,000 max on it? You know what I mean? Not even enough to do anything, considering half them are leveling. So that's pretty frustrating. That's going to be solved by Blizzard's official launch here. So I'm just waiting. I'm ready to rock. You know what I'm saying? I can't express it enough. I really can't.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I say, it's such a huge thing, and it will bring a bunch of us into it. So it's going to have some kind of population. How much, we'll have to see.
Hey, there's Tokes. I'm late to the party. Did Blizzard actually announce legacy servers? You are late to the party. How the fuck? What have you been doing all day? Goddamn. Yeah,
Well, it's Stokes. We know what he's been doing.
Yeah, I guess that's true, man. He's got a 4, a 2, and an O in his name. So anyway, they announced it. Yeah, it was a short announcement, but it was a pretty impactful one. And then they announced a lot of shit about 8.0. So I would definitely catch up on it if I were you guys. I'm very excited for 8.0. Right now, we're talking about Classic. We already talked about the 8.0 stuff, but yeah, it's pretty nice. It's just a good feeling. Feels like we won. I actually would love to. I'm going to have to check out Alex's. I bet he's got some stuff on this. I would love to hear his reaction to this because as much as the guy did to fuck, like in the middle of the thing, he really fucked things up. But in the beginning, he was like the #1 reason why people had, like, there was a media presence for Classic. So I have a lot of respect for the guy. Even though I have a lot of disrespect for the guy too. He did a great part, and I hope he realizes that without him and other people who were streaming it and playing it and talking about it all the time, this never would have happened. If people, like before the Nestarius, the way it was working, people were just playing it kind of quietly. There was only maybe 1 or 2 servers that had a couple hundred people. It wasn't mainstream. It took Nestarius, and it took people like him to take it into the 2017 media to make it a viable product. And even though I really feel like it's still not a viable product because of the things I said in the video yesterday, Blizzard seems to disagree. So that's good. That means they know more than I do, and I'm happy to hear that. So
it's interesting because, you know, we've had a lot of fun calling him Anakin sensual, but even with the announce of vanilla servers come out, it's kind of like his journey is complete.
Yeah, he's back to being a Jedi. You know, who cares?
Yeah, he redeemed himself at the end of Return of the Jedi.
It's like this, right? If you're playing a sport, like you're doing a competitive match in a sport, and you fuck up a bunch in the middle of the match, but your team still wins at the end. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Who cares that he fouled out in the 3rd quarter? We won. You know what I mean? That's it. Everybody's on the same team again. So I'm happy. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. Me too. This is a great day. It's almost every single thing we wanted and almost every single thing we could have wished for.
Yeah, like Tokes, they haven't basically said anything about it. There was a couple small interviews about it. There is a couple things that you could read into, but right now it seems like they're hiring people. It seems like they haven't even started. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. People combated me on that already, but I think they're probably gonna, like I said, look for the Nestarius team. If you could find them, any type of info from them, I guarantee it will corroborate with what I said here. So, oh, that's good shit, man.
Absolutely. I think we just about covered everything.
Yep. Even though it was such a whirlwind day, they're really, you know, the announcements were pretty succinct. Like, everything that was announced today was something that is going to be built on, you know. It's not like we have a product to play. But actually, the one thing I'm more interested in is that there was actually 4 different things that you could play at BlizzCon. Did you see that? They had the 2 sub races and the 2 starting, like, whatever, one of the zones. So the fact that they're at that stage, it's interesting. It means that they're way farther ahead with that than they actually seem to, like, that they're telling us, essentially. Because there's never been like that before. BlizzCon, they basically are allowing you to play the expansion at BlizzCon, which is, like, ridiculous. Usually that kind of shit isn't even ready for alpha. Like, the last 2 alphas, both zones, like, the starting zones weren't even playable. You know what I'm saying? It was like you could log on and do a couple quests in the first zone, and that was it. But I guess from what I've seen, like, the NPCs are not moving. Like, most of the stuff is still quite far away from being polished, but I don't know.
Yeah, I saw a screenshot of it was like a bear druid, and he was a high mountain tauren. I don't know if you saw it. No. And, like, the bear actually had high mountain horns in bear form.
Wow.
Should be pretty interesting.
I didn't even think about that. That's fucking nuts.
Awesome.
Somebody took a phone picture. Somebody was playing a demo.
Oh,
something.
Boy. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw Lore made, like, demo videos for the first 2 zones for the people who weren't at BlizzCon. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check those out for sure. Hey, you should. You know what you should do? I don't know if our internet famous Gildy was there at BlizzCon, but if so, you should definitely hook up with him.
Let's see where Jesse's at. That's a good point. I didn't even think about him. Unfortunately, I haven't talked to the dude in like a year. Let's see what he's up to. I bet he's got stuff from Twitter. Oh yeah, he was actually streaming it. Streaming the new expansion from the show floor as May. Apparently he was cosplaying. Let's see. I'm loading up his stream now. Let's see if he's actually still live. Oh, he's got 2K viewers, so he's definitely still alive. Oh, he's playing it. Oh, he's playing with Ian. That's spectacular. He's sitting next to Ian Hazagosis.
That's cute.
The guy hasn't played WoW in like a year, and he's just sitting with the fucking developer of the game. It's so ridiculous, man. Popularity. That's what it can do for you.
Jesse Cox, you're one magnificent bastard.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get in touch with him. I wish, let's see if I could actually, he's probably not reading the chat at all, though. I want somebody to hover over the stats. I want a picture of how much damage they're doing. Let's see if maybe we could see it if he actually attacks. He's just AFK standing there, which is not surprising.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's used to other people doing the damage for him now.
Yeah. It's lagging. Battle for Azeroth beta coming in March. I would probably say earlier than that, but yeah, maybe March. I don't know. Yeah, Jane Doe, the classes are restricted. There was I posted it a while ago. It shows you like which races could be what classes as well. So it's like nobody can be Death Knights. Ugh.
No Nightborn DK.
Nope. At least the ones they announced so far, there was like nothing about Death Knights, so we'll see.
I mean, it's not surprising Pandaren can't be DKs either.
Can you change this? There's a way to make this not laggy, right? Yeah, I know Pandaren can't be DKs, obviously, but I don't know. I kind of hope that I don't know. I would like to play these races. Let's put it that way. That's why I was excited for it. So
might still be able to. They did say you could race change once you've unlocked them. You could race change your main to that sub race. So you never know.
Yeah. Where'd you post it at? It was in the chat. I mean, I don't know. It's just on the WoW, the website. The official website has all this stuff. So I think the damage numbers are hidden. What makes you think that?
Yeah, every time I do Court of Stars and I get turned into a Nightborn, I'm like, damn, I really want to be a Nightborn.
Looks awesome, right? It's fucking amazing. Yeah. Those new models are just spectacular.
Absolutely, and it looks like you're going to get to be a Nightborn there.
Although I don't really understand Void Elf, but I suppose that was just to balance out giving each faction 3 races.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to come too, obviously. But the Void Elf, I think, like I said, we talked about this before you joined Discord. There was like some little nod about Varisa and Illyria and Sylvanas all having like a fallout, and then that would be why the Void Elves that like Illyria trains go to the Alliance. So I don't know, we'll see.
See that Jaina has a different look too.
She's looking kind of sexy, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Jaina always looked kind of sexy, man. I tell you.
Not in Warcraft 3, dude.
Well, I suppose, yeah. But I mean, that's more of a product of when it came out.
He's literally. I mean, how long ago? It's like 5 minutes now. He's not even playing the game. This is Jesse Cox in a nutshell. I can't believe this guy. Is there a way to go backwards in Twitch streams? I don't even know.
I don't think not in Twitch streams, but he doesn't dual stream, does he?
No, definitely not. He's like an OG partner. He's such a Twitch partner that they gave him his own subscription model. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, because you only have to pay it once for him. It's like $3 once, and you've got it forever.
$3 once, and you have it forever.
A billion emotes and all.
Yeah, he's got a trillion emotes. It's crazy.
Yeah, people already successful on Twitch. Don't waste their time with YouTube.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I don't blame them. No reason to. Twitch is definitely the superior platform once you're established, but anyway, anybody got any questions about anything, especially Classic? We did like a Q&A for whatever. We didn't talk about Classic much, but if anybody
in my stream either?
Yeah, I don't know what you got going on. Let's see.
I don't know. According to my thing at chat, I've only got 4, but I figured I'd ask.
Oh, sweet. Guess it's better to do this. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Tomorrow, I mean, we still got a lot of stuff to go through tomorrow. Like the Q&A is usually the biggest thing. But I spelled your name wrong. But anyway, the Q&A is usually the biggest thing, and that has yet to happen. So we'll see.
Be interesting to see what Red Shirt guy asks.
Yeah, he's always there nowadays, huh? Legendary Bronze, what's up, man? Anyway, he said, what class will you play when Blizzard release Classic? I will be playing a Paladin. like always. I don't know. It's between Druid and Paladin. I like Druid and Paladin a lot in Classic. A lot more than I do in Legion, to be honest. So one of those two. But we'll see. Who knows? Could change.
That means I need to roll both an Horde and an Alliance.
So that's the thing, right? Like if they don't, like, people were already talking about that. Like maybe they'll add Paladins to Horde. I don't know, but probably not.
To do that, of course they would have to add the Draenei and the Blood Elves.
No, not necessarily.
They could just have Tauren Paladin. Well,
yeah, exactly. Tauren Paladin and what was the Shaman? Dwarf.
Dwarf.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they added the other races that they expanded, other race class combinations they expanded on in Cataclysm, like you could have a Dwarf Mage.
Yeah, it would be cool. Like those things, I feel like they don't change the game, so don't see why anybody would be opposed to them. But the Paladin and Shaman thing, I have a love-hate relationship with that because I fucking hate playing Paladin on Alliance. I really don't like Alliance, but Paladin is very, very good in Classic, so I pretty much am forced to do it. But at the same time, I kind of think it's like a pretty iconic thing about Classic, so don't really know. Trumu asks, when do you think 7.3.5 PTR will be up? I would expect it to be up next week. I really would. Based on what we saw at BlizzCon, I think that we're way ahead on a lot of this tech. And the fact that they like committed to it coming with 7.3.5 means that they're like already doing it, essentially. So
yeah, I imagine the alpha.
Doing any leveling in 7.3.5?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Like when that shit comes out, it depends when the raid comes out. But if I actually have time and I'm not worried about the raid, like if it came out today, I would stop doing Mythic Plus streams and I would start doing leveling streams because I've wanted to do that for such a long time anyway. Give me a reason to do it. Let's rock. You know, I'm ready to go with that. So
absolutely, I remember your Pandaren leveling streams were awesome. I totally tune in for that.
He's asking classic questions now, apparently. What was his name? Shibuzi.
Yeah, Shibuzi.
More accessible. Wait, what do you think about the idea of making 40 mans like Nax more accessible?
I'm pretty sure we'll come down on the other side of that.
I would be fine with that. Let's see what Jesse has to say. Of course, it's lagging. I'm not really sure why it's lagging so
There's
bad.
going to be a lot of spirited discussion around that, and we're going to look to the community in a lot of ways.
Probably because you're streaming at the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
Your internet.
Yeah. I don't know. If anybody could like tell me what he's asking. I don't know. I can't really watch this right now, though. It seems to be too laggy. Hey,
I'm sure Jesse will put highlights out on his channel afterwards, so.
I don't know. I doubt that. Jesse's so fucking lazy now, man. It's such a shame.
He has his own editor now, eh?
Well, I know that, but
editor.
That doesn't mean he's not lazy. Like he just doesn't care anymore. It's funny. Hey, Metro, you can see the damage numbers on Sloopbag's Twitch stream. Nice. So how much Sloopbag? Let's see. Twitch Sloopbag. How much is he doing? Because that's an interesting thing. Like that's something I'm interested in learning. So that's like the #1 thing that I was interested in seeing today.
Me too. I wanted to see exactly how much the stat squish affected us.
So he's playing a prop pally. I see a 33 tick. Let's see. He's about to use Avenger Shield. Avenger Shield just hit for 1k. So that's pretty good. So that's like Wrath, I guess. I don't know. 1k on an ability. Is that TBC?
Yeah, but that's a prod ability too. It's not going to do as much as a.
Well, dude, come on. We're talking about prop pally here. One thing I noticed immediately is that he has no different abilities on his bars. At least to my knowledge, I don't see any new abilities.
Well, they've got to have it highly restricted, you would think. That's barely an alpha right now.
Maybe. If they're using the exact same build from Legion, but I don't know, maybe. I assume that there would be some class changes, too. I would like to see him open the talent pane, too, to kind of prove that, but I don't know. Wrath was like 6k. Yeah, Wrath was like 6k DPS, but I don't know. Like, spells are different, you know? Like, just because the spell does 1,000 doesn't mean you're doing 1,000 DPS. He's got Holy Shield. That's spell warding, isn't it? Or is that actually Holy Shield? Second from the top right. I think, is that a spell called Holy Shield? Like a usable spell? Because that looks like spell warding to me. That's what spell warding looks like now, anyway. Either way, I'm very excited for the leveling stuff. That's like the #1. Like that, the classic stuff and the leveling stuff was like the best shit for me today. Those are two things that I wanted, and I got both. I didn't get Warcraft 3, but
hey, you're preaching to the choir, but I'm down with that leveling stuff, 110%.
You got that Warcraft RTS PvP thing.
Yeah, like the Warfront. It sounds kind of cool, but it's not an RTS, so it's not.
It's a shame I just finished leveling my DK through level 100. Now that they have,
Oh yeah.
gonna come up with the stuff, because it's always a pain to go from 60 to like 80.
Right, that's the
Wrath
worst
is
part,
just
right? That's the part that I hate. Like, even when I was thinking about doing the leveling challenge, I was like, I don't think I'm even going to go past 60 because I fucking hate going into Wrath. So, like, if you can do it all in one sitting where you don't have to switch and there's all that nonsense going on, I think it'll be a lot better.
Absolutely. I mean, that was, and I mean, of course, for different reasons, but that was always where I got stuck in my 1-to-110s was in Outland because it was such a funnel. It's just hard to get through.
Yeah, I agree. It's so shitty. I don't know. It goes too fast, and you don't feel like... I would rather do it all in one, like 20 levels in one. That makes a lot better.
Oh, for sure. If I could, when I can do 60 to 80, you know, I might just do everything in Outland before I go to Northrend. Or I might do everything in Northrend and then go to Outland.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess that confirms it though. 1K from Crusader or from Avenging Shield means people are going to be doing like a few K DPS. At least that's at 110. So obviously by
That's crazy.
what?
Oh, just after.
Yeah, that the numbers, right?
Legion for so long, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's a pretty big deal, honestly. That's a huge squish. Let's put it that way. And like I said, that changes leveling severely. That like indirectly makes leveling harder. I'm pretty sure because the reason leveling is so easy right now is because the heirlooms make this big jump where as soon as you get into TBC, you get like the best gear available jump like for TBC, and you're in the best gear available. But if it's all like this linear gear, like if you're gaining 170 item levels over 110 levels, that means you're basically not gaining any jumps. There's no jumps, you know.
Indeed, and I mean, there's all these breakpoints right now, 61, 71, 81, where your gear massively jumps from one level to the next because you're entering a different expansion. So a stat squish and making these expansions 20 levels or 60 levels or whatever is going to make a huge difference in how smooth leveling is, at the very least.
Yeah, when I was leveling my DK, getting into Kata, I was getting completely like crushed, and then I just leveled up once, and then I'm unkillable again.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's because of how it works. Like, it's set up in a way that the heirlooms are like they top out at whatever the max level is, and then the next time they increase as if you're wearing raid gear from that expansion. So like in Classic, you're always wearing raid gear. You're basically wearing gear that's like MC equivalent at level 1. But in TBC, you're wearing MC gear at 60 or at 58 or whatever, and then at 59, it turns into fucking Sunwheel gear. You know what I'm saying? Like if you compare the stats. So it's the same all the way up. Same with Legion. Legion at 101, you gain like crazy stats out of those heirlooms, you know? So if there's not that like 100 item level jump in the leveling system, then leveling has just gotten a lot harder by default. So
absolutely. I know when I did my Demon Hunter, I wore the heirlooms, of course, before they went up, and you could see the difference in stats. The starter gear for the Demon Hunters was so much higher than the heirlooms. It was ridiculous. And of course, once your heirlooms hit that 101, they of course outpaced anything that was available.
Oh, Sloopbag's playing a DK now, a Blood DK. I'm gonna have to listen to this.
Wraithwalk, Blood Shield.
People are. Chris Franklin says looks like class buffs are back as well. Where are you seeing that?
Vampiric Aura is the DK's AoE.
Oh, Vampiric Aura. Party and raid members within 40 yards steal life from their targets, increasing leech by 5%. It's a passive.
When you have a Blood DK
That's interesting.
So it's not so much buffs like we used to have.
Well, that's just because of the weapon. To be honest,
I don't think we can make
that's consumption nowadays. So.
No, Demon Hunter is gonna have to.
I think that's just an artifact thing.
But
maybe like other classes have it. I don't know.
That's not a buff where like you're adding kings to your entire raid. It's
just a passive,
It's a passive, yeah.
Oh, the new loading screen looks pretty good. But yeah, it's like Blood DK already has that, so I don't know if the other classes get it though. Oh, he's not playing Blood. What the fuck? He's playing Vengeance now. I guess he was just looking at the abilities. Vengeance sucks. Fuck Vengeance.
Consume
Yeah,
magic,
Vengeance isn't blood, so it's not the
Or
right.
maybe actually maybe looking for these
armor
buffs.
220. So armor again, armor. Not
Maybe
physical
Prot
damage,
Warrior will
just
actually be
armor,
pretty
that's
good
the thing.
for
Armor
once.
and parry.
Maybe.
I'll be
Yeah, I
playing
wish-
it on Classic anyway, so I know that's good on that version of the game.
Oh, yeah, no
Fiery
shit.
brand is the same.
I'd be interested to see what the
Yeah,
talent
or,
trees look like, because we were one of the things we talked about that we didn't actually talk about today
same
was
Strike,
the whole
same
shared
meta,
specs
30%
and
health,
a
100%
fourth
increased
column
armor,
and all
so
that
the
kind of
same-
stuff.
I don't know why there's two meta.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like the talents are any different.
Sigil
There's
flame,
nothing
the
different
same
about the
sigil
UI,
of
like from
misery, the same sheer.
the ability UI at all. So I think it's
Sigil
either not
silence,
done
the
or
same,
they're just
soul
making
clip.
no changes. I don't know. Doesn't
Yeah, it
seem
looks
like
about the
there's-
same.
Yeah.
The same.
Or they
spectral sight,
they're
blade is the
using
same.
that neck
Demon
piece,
speed,
that artifact
party and
neck
raid
piece,
members within 40
to do what the
yards of
that kind
Yeah.
of thing would do.
increasing
That might be it,
haste
dude.
by 3.
That might be it,
3%.
honestly.
Having a Vengeance Demon at
Because of course it adds all those
Oh.
abilities to those
Fuck, I just
3
missed
pieces
it.
of armor,
Demonic
4 pieces of
wards,
armor.
I think it said movement speed. I missed it. He just hovered over the Vengeance Demon Hunter had a buff too. Everybody in their party moved 40% faster or something like that, or some type of percent faster. Shit.
Hey, that's a Windwalker bonus.
Man,
come on now.
How could you not have the? I can't believe Twitch doesn't have like you can't go back in Twitch. That's so shitty. Huh. Oh well. Well, that's pretty cool. So if that's something to deal with, then that's even cooler. Maybe
So
it's
is it
just for
safe to
tanks.
assume that tanks will just have like auras?
I guess so. I don't know. I wish I could actually watch this. I guess it's because I'm streaming, but yeah, I guess it's like tanks have auras one way or the other. That's what we see here. Maybe everybody has auras. It could just be a group-wide thing, like a buff every single spec has, some kind of buff, but I don't know. There it is.
Something that never made sense to me is that Prot Warrior never got Rallying Cry, but the DPS specs did. I never understood that.
Well, they did. So what you missed is there was a time where the tanks had all of that. Like, they were the ones who brought that to the raid. In MoP, every single tank had one, basically. And then it got to the point where the damage dealers did nothing but damage. And the tanks carried the raid, essentially. They did the healing CDs, and they kept themselves alive. So then in WoD, they started to move away from that. And then officially in Legion, they completely moved away from it. So that was like MoP. Kata, at the end of Kata, they did this where in Dragon Soul, there was it was like a tier set for every tank that your main defensive ability was also a AoE, like it was hit everybody. So like in Blood Decay situation, Vamp Blood hit the entire raid. You know what I'm saying? Like when I used Vamp Blood, it also gave the health to everyone else too. So
Okay.
that's how it used to be. But now they try to make it so like the tank roll is not like that anymore, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
So Brett says Vengeance Demon Hunter gave 3% haste to everyone. Gotcha. I thought it said move speed, but that's cool. So yeah, I guess if they're doing shit like that, then I guess we got group buffs back. It's not buffs that you apply, but it's like see, that's I always thought they got rid of that because they wanted to make challenge or Mythic Plus as balanced as possible, and you can't balance around those, you know. But I don't know.
Maybe
Oh yeah,
the
did you guys
buffs
talk about
only.
Mythic Plus?
What are you saying, Cop?
I was just going to say maybe the buffs only apply in a raid type of situation instead of a dungeon
Maybe.
type one.
Yeah, maybe they'll make some change. Yeah, we did talk about it a bit, Banana, but there wasn't much to talk about. I mean, they confirmed that it's coming back and that, you know, there's going to be 10 dungeons, but they didn't say anything else, basically. Did you see anything else?
No.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, because I've had this idea about what if they add like a rating system like they have for PvP, or some kind of way you can, I don't know, do like harder dungeons by like
Yeah.
solo queuing or something. I don't know.
That'd be cool. Yeah, no, they didn't. Like I said, I think this expansion has got a lot more to talk about, but today they just announced the big features, all of which seem cool, none of which I'm super excited for, but I'm sure they're all going to be great. And the smaller things that they didn't announce, like the stat squish and, you know, like the leveling stuff, these are the things I'm very excited for. And looks like that's coming sooner rather than later. So
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens at the Q&A.
Q&A is going to be interesting. Yep, that's the one. That's the one I always look for. So tomorrow we got, let's see, can we look tomorrow? Yeah, November 4th. So tomorrow the first thing at 10 a.m. there's some stuff, nothing I'm interested in. Doesn't look like there's any WoW stuff at all until... Yeah, well, there's like the Art of World of Warcraft. That's for fucking RPers.
Well, you're not interested in the powerful woman of World of Warcraft?
You gotta be fucking kidding me. Yeah, no, I'm not interested in that, buddy. That was today, though. But they had the live Q&A. That's tomorrow at 4 p.m. So that's 4 p.m. PDT. So that's 7 Eastern tomorrow. So that's going to be a big one.
Boss design workshop should be interesting.
Yeah,
too.
that's there at 5:15 too. That they're talking about from a raid. Or from a 5-man actually. I can't remember which 5-man, but they said like a single boss. They're going to go through the entire process of how to make it. So
they're going to design it at that live completely while we're watching.
Yeah, how nuts is that? That's going to be awesome. And then 6:30 to 9:30. That's the closing ceremony. Who hosted the costume contest today? It's going on right now, I guess, huh?
Chris Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick, who's that?
He hosts a podcast called The Nerdist. He's hosted a game show.
Oh my God, seriously?
He hosted it last year too. It can be really annoying.
It was what's his name? It was the guy from Silicon Valley last year, Tom Middleditch. Oh wait, maybe that was the final night. Yeah, maybe that was the final night.
Yeah. Because they said that he hosted the costume contest last year as well.
Okay, so maybe the costume contest, because Jay Moore, what did he used to host?
I think he used to host the costume contest too. I'm not 100% certain.
That's what Thomas Middleton. Let me see if I can find this out. Blackout 14458. Hey Metro, I've seen you've been fairly active in the private server subreddits. Have you been playing, and will you continue to play now that Blizzard finally announced legacy servers? Wow, you are late to the conversation. No, I'm not going to be playing on private servers anymore now that Blizzard has announced the official server. But yeah, the reason I was so active in the community was because I wanted to see the community transform into something that Blizzard could respect, and it looks like I didn't need to worry about that. So yeah, we're good one way or the other. I'm happy. But yeah, I still do. I just try to keep I keep up on all kinds of stuff. Like, even though I don't play Classic anymore, I still like to see what's happening with the servers. You know, even though I don't play League anymore, I still every once in a while like to check up on League. You know, stuff like that. Games that I played a lot in the past, I still like to see it. So even though I'm typing in the Reddit, it's mostly I'm typing in the Reddit when I have time at work. It's like I'm sitting there, nothing to do at work. What could I do? Just go on Reddit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I've seen a few of your posts. You seem to get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, a lot of controversial opinions. That's for sure. So yeah, it's 2006 that he or 2016 that he hosted. Yeah. So he was definitely there last year.
Hardwick.
No, Thomas Middleditch. He did actually a really good job, honestly. If you haven't seen it, it's worth it. He did some stand-up. I think his stand-up's pretty good, but it's pretty cringy, so you gotta like that kind of stuff. But
I know Hardwick hosted something last year. I just don't know what it was.
So what do you think about Warfronts? Like I said, I don't really know a lot about them. I'm not super hyped about all the stuff they announced today. I'm more excited that there's actually going to be an expansion and that they did not scrap Mythic Plus. I guess is more exciting to me than anything. The Warfronts look cool, though. I love Warcraft 3. I love the RTS element. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this, but one of the funniest things that happened at the whole convention was... can't remember the guy's name. It wasn't Fiesel. It was the other guy. But anyway, he was up there, and he had a picture of the box of Warcraft 2, and there's like 6 words on the box that aren't the title. It says something about the battle for Azeroth, something, something. And he was like, it was on the box the whole time, and you guys couldn't find it? You were coming up with Vengeance of Azeroth, or Tides of Vengeance? What was that? Like, it was pretty funny. He was like totally taking a dig at all the leaks. Because as far as I'm aware, there's nobody who's properly guessed this. I don't think anybody's even come close.
No, not of the title, no. But some people properly guessed.
I've seen. I saw like Azerite mentioned in a supposed leak. I don't know if that was just lucky or.
Oh really?
There's a few things, yeah, that I don't know.
Well, the
Some
things that
stuff right.
I saw a lot of stuff that just was like really too specific. Like basically what we know from BlizzCon is not very specific. So all the leaks to me seemed like they were like the expansion was launching next week, is they were talking about the exact zones, the names of the zones, the names of the races, the names of the characters. None of that shit was announced today. So anything that did that is just, they're just lying. Like, nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? Blizzard gave us what they gave us, and that's it. So I don't know, though. I might have to say, I bet there's probably a way to search. Let's see if on MMO Champion, type in leak and see what comes up. Oh, here we go. Battle for Azeroth. Who else is disappointed with the next expansion? That's not surprising. Here's some.
Gotta love the community, man. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Was anybody right about leaks? Let's see what people say. There was one guy, he posted, oh, it's closed. Huh. Somebody posted, Sylvanas will take down Teldrassil and Anduin will take down Undercity as retaliation. So each will lose a home city. She could do so because she gets the item or shards of it, causing that wound from Silithus. Who's the last person hitting a planet and with what? Apparently somebody leaked. I don't know. Doesn't seem very conclusive. Yeah, I guess there was a couple people. But most of them were just so off on the title. Like, it wasn't even close. But yeah, they had this image, like one of the dude when he was showing off the community stuff. The name of his community was Tides of Vengeance.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty. He was really trolling on that. It was pretty funny. I did actually see. I remember seeing one about procedurally generated islands. So I remember that one. So yeah, I guess there was some. But usually it's like one that's like, oh shit, this guy got literally everything right. That happened in Legion, and that guy, like, you could still look at it today. It's like down to the fucking word. It's right. It's crazy.
Well, you know what they say. You could give a tree full of monkeys a set of typewriters. Eventually, they'd come up with Shakespeare.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Orpheus Punsos said, it just came on the stream and started from the beginning. I don't know if you've seen the footage of Lore leveling, but he's doing about 200 damage from each mob hit. Average life would be approximately 3k. Yeah, we looked at Loot Bag for a little bit. Looked at Jesse, but he was AFK, so that's good. But yeah, no, we looked at them. It did a little bit more damage than that, a lot more than 200. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll see. We'll get it eventually. But yeah, I'm excited. The stat squish, like I said, that's like probably the biggest thing that I saw at BlizzCon today, honestly.
Yeah, it's interesting because we'll get to see if they've done anything to more perfect the stat squish, because there were a lot of problems with it when they introduced it at the end of MoB.
It just didn't work. Like, it didn't squish it far enough. That was the problem. So to be honest, guys, if there's a take-home message from BlizzCon today, it's that they learned. They learned their lesson. You know what I'm saying? They actually learned their lesson for once. Like, half the things that, you know, like Classic, oh, we learned our lesson, we're going to make Classic, you know? The stat squish didn't go so well last time, well, guess what? We're going to fucking squish it to TBC. Like, there's so many, like, the leveling, all right, we realize now leveling is something that people actually want to do, so let's make it matter. You know, like, they actually did some things that they basically didn't want to do, but people convinced them to do. So I think I'm pretty happy about that.
I think that was one of the biggest things that they said, and they repeated it a lot, is we are listening to you. We do hear what you say, and we are reacting to it.
Honestly, I think they're just so far ahead that people don't realize they're reacting to it. I think we learned a lot about that in Legion. Like, people were saying, like, oh, they didn't listen to feedback from the beta. It's like, yeah, no shit, because they're already working on fucking Antorus when the beta's out, you know? It's like, you just can't have it both ways. You're either going to have a slow-ass patch cycle and there's going to be 8 months of tier, or you're going to have these, you know, 77-day chunks of patches, and they're not going to be able to listen to everything. I don't know. But it's always how it is, you know? Like, the expansions are when they implement the biggest stuff, so.
Well, and that's what they said, too. They said as soon as Legion came out, they started talking about what they were going to do as a next expansion. That's how far ahead they already were, is they were already starting to develop the
Yep.
Warfront.
Definitely. Well, that's everything, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that we've pretty much covered everything. We talked about everything. I don't know if you want to do another one of these tomorrow once we've got the Q&A under our belt or not.
I don't know if there's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be anything to talk about.
Yeah, I tend to think not either, but I figured I'd put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, if there is, then we can do another stream tomorrow night anyway. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the weekend stream wise, but if there's nothing to talk about, maybe I'll just actually stream. I don't know, but
Mythic Plus.
Mythic, yeah, I'll try Mythic. You know, I haven't tried that. I think I might try some Mythic Plus. Yeah.
You should play your Prot Warrior.
Prot Warrior. Yeah, why? So I could lose. So I could suck.
I would just be really curious to see how you react to playing it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will.
Because I don't really know much about Blood DK, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a war. He's like the least. Like he's so far behind though, so it would take like weeks of preparation just to get him ready for Mythic Plus.
Yeah, you don't have to play it.
Vengeance, on the other hand, that's something I want to play more. But very different from Prot Warrior. So.
Well, I still got my viewer content day I didn't get a chance to do today. I probably won't even do that tomorrow because I'm going to be watching all the BlizzCon stuff, so I'll probably do that Sunday. But that's
really?
my streaming weekend.
You got ice cream? What did you say?
I said that's going to be my streaming for the weekend. I still have my viewer content day to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, cool. So if anybody wants to watch Cop, he's gonna do viewer content day, guys. You could do what could they have you do, Cop? What could viewer content day entail?
The poll is still open for that. So let me just.
Yeah, feel free to put it in Discord. I'll post it in my chat.
Sure, just give me a second to grab it here.
I'm going to do some soloing, Matt, but that's not going to be live. Our Night Elf Mohawk's a new sub-race now. That's not a race. Don't be racist.
Speaking of soloing, I did give Prot Warrior a try, and nevertheless, it is terrible.
What'd you try? What dungeon?
Well, I had Archway key.
Okay.
At like 10. And then I couldn't even survive the pack with the 3 slimes, dude. It's like, what?
It's pretty tough. That dungeon.
You just have to be like really good, I guess. I mean, I don't know. You would just take more effort. Like if I was on a Blood DK,
right? Exactly. It's just more approachable when you're on a tank that can actually heal. Like it's definitely not impossible, but it's close.
There you go. And actually, right now we think we've got like 4 or 5 different things that are tied for number 1 there. So
I just realized looking at this the thing that Lord posted, he's got Battle Cry on the bars. Battle Cry isn't in the game right now. Oh no, Battle Shout. Battle Shout. I mean, Battle Shout isn't in the game right now, is it?
What are you talking about? The guy with the guy like yelling?
Yeah,
that's commanding shout. That's for DPS warriors.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But underneath on the bar, he has it looks like Battle Shout, the original Battle Shout.
Oh.
That icon isn't in the game right now, is it?
It might be for like a PvP talent or something.
Wait, is that a Battle Shout? Yeah, so True Mood just noticed it too. That's funny, yeah. So that's one thing that's different for Warrior at least. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna watch this. I haven't watched it yet because obviously didn't have enough time. Anyway, you posted the link. Yeah, let's see. All right, so Cobb's got. I'm gonna post this here. You guys can vote if you guys want to vote. What happens if? Oh, I see. I didn't even realize this much. So you got a couple options here. You got more casual leveling of last week's tune. You got casual leveling of a different tune, very specific. You got Battlegrounds. You got Mythic Plus. I'm going to vote for that one. You got Raids. You got Old School Gaming, NES and SNES, which are 2 old school gaming consoles. You got RPing. I'm going to switch my vote to RPing.
Well,
you got Pet Battles. I'm not going to pick that. A different game from Steam, GOG, assuming it's stream safe and free or already owned by Cop. You got AP grinding. That's a pretty exciting one. We'll definitely pick that. Other, please specify in the comments below. Roll Blood DK. So I'm going to pick that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick RPing. So let's see. I would recommend that you guys all pick RPing. Oh, there's a lot of votes. Wait, can people vote over and over again?
You could choose more than one option.
That's the difference. Yeah, okay. So right now, it looks like more casual leveling of last week tune is winning. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Mythic Plus is winning, 16%, 7 votes. It's hard. There's so many options. RPing is not winning. It did get 5 votes, though, so keep it strong, guys. Let's keep voting for RPing.
Darn it, Metro, you're trying to get me killed.
Wisdom Aura is back. Why would you see that? All right, so I rechecked lore on his Paladin. 110 was 160 to 170 eye level. He was getting healed by Wisdom for 50%, 50 health, 1% of his health. So at 5k at that eye level. So 5k at that eye level. Oh, I see, I see. So he had 5k health as a prop Paladin. That's what that was what you're saying? Is that in this video? It must be in the Alliance one, huh? He's playing what looks to be a Fury Warrior. No, that's Arms. That's Arms Warrior, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to watch this afterwards. The Alliance one I hadn't even seen yet, though. I'm going to check that out, too. Oh, Rep Paladin, of course. So wait, he's got 5k health as a Rep Paladin. That's interesting. It's not Wisdom Aura, though. It's the buff that they already have, Truemu. I think he was Horde. Yeah, not on this one, at least. But maybe there's other videos. I don't know. Let's take a look, actually. There's like, I don't know if you guys saw, but you could search by games now, so it's pretty cool. So you can search World of Warcraft, and then you could look at all the VODs from today. Oh, they have face painting, too. That's a good one. Let's go look at that. I guess they did the arena stuff today, too. I don't know. Did you check that out at all?
No, not me. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. Oh, Freehold Zone? This is the Alliance one then, right? Let's see, load more. Oh, there's one of all those. Oh, shit. There's like 4 different zones. I'm going to have to watch all these. Oh, my God. Atal Dazari. I'm about to watch this one right now. Ah, this zone is like... Man, this is going to be probably my favorite zone in the game. I fucking love troll shit, man. You guys have no idea how excited I am just to be able to do ZG again. Like Classic, the main reason I'm going to play Classic is because of ZG. What is this? This is not a preview. I thought it was him actually playing. It's just like a random thing put together by Blizzard. RPing would have more if it was ERPing. That's what Matt Lovelace says, Cop. I don't know how you feel about that. You trying to do ERP?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be trying to do ERP just because we want to keep it stream safe, eh?
That's yeah, I suppose so. So yeah, right now Mythic Plus has 9 votes, and RPing has 8 votes. So what happens if it ties? Have you ever had a tie?
Well, it was tied today going in. I had like 5 different things tied, so that's why I extended that and the fact that, of course, wanted to watch BlizzCon. So
sure. But I mean, in the past, has there ever been a tie?
No, in the past, it's always been casual leveling. You see, there's 2 casual leveling things there. One of them is a tune I created specifically for the stream.
Gotcha.
And that's why it says of last week's tune.
Oh, here we go. How about combining them? Halpcat says RP during Mythic Plus. That would be funny.
It would be hilarious.
Oh,
I get kicked so quickly.
Probably.
Yeah, how do RPers like handle raids and such?
Do they like type ouch whenever they take damage? I don't know. That's a good question, right? I'm not sure.
The couple of RPers that I've talked to have said when they're actually in a raid, they're totally not RPing. They only RP outside of grouped instances.
Oh, really? I guess
but who knows? I mean, that's just a couple people I've talked to too. So who knows?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, you can't be sitting there, verily and sally forth, will someone give me a buff?
Yeah, Truemu was right. I would definitely, I mean, I don't know, you're welcome to do whatever you want, but I will definitely be doing leveling streams when that shit comes out, but I won't do it beforehand. I was actually thinking about it last week. I was like, shit, man, maybe I should do some more leveling. I honestly had forgotten about that because I was doing it and then my mom broke her leg and I just completely forgot about that. Like, it's not like I didn't want to keep doing it. I just didn't have time anymore, and now I've forgotten about it, so... I will definitely be going back to that idea. I was thinking about leveling something like, I don't know. Mage was too easy. I need to do something that's even harder. But we'll see. Maybe like a healer. If I leveled a fucking Paladin healer, that would probably be like the hardest it would get, right? Something that doesn't do a lot of damage and doesn't have a lot of spells. Because like the problem with it was like being naked didn't even affect me on that mage. Because the mobs never reached me. You know what I mean? It was like I wasn't even naked. It's kind of stupid.
Maybe as a holy priest.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a healing priest or something like that. I was thinking about Disc. Helpcat says that you can do, okay, guys, my sister's gotten lost in Darkheart Thicket. We have to go save her. How funny would that be? And you could clear a bunch of extra trash, like shit that you wouldn't normally clear in the dungeon, and be like looking around and be like, are you in there? Like shit like that. How funny would that be? Oh, dude, I have a bunch of characters. My first realm was actually an RP realm. So I might actually level my characters on that and do a bunch of RP Mythic Plus. That'd be pretty funny.
That would be freaking hilarious. Wherefore art thou, you sister? Come back to me.
Yeah, man.
I don't you remember that guy Tony Saladino, and he was in like that Dead Mines on the private server. Remember that?
I do.
Like, you commented on the video, like there was like people like RPing.
Oh yes. I knew.
Wearing,
I
like,
couldn't
no
remember.
gear.
Yes, that was so funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was weird, man. See, that's the kind of people who play private servers, man. I don't know. It's just.
I guess. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
Strange bunch of people.
Yeah, that's the thing. It attracts all types. Well, I don't know. I think the news for this classic stuff is going to travel fast. And honestly, I hope that it causes the private servers to develop different ideas, because obviously they're going to have some time here where, you know, they are still the only option. So I hope they think a little bit harder about what they're doing. Oh, here we go. There's actually a response. Hold on, we got to read this. World of Warcraft Classic response. Dear Lights Hope community, we hope the community is as delighted as we are with Blizzard's announcement of upcoming legacy servers. In light of this announcement, we'd like to make a brief statement of intent on the project's future. In short, if Blizzard is offering a genuine progressive classic experience that falls within the scope of what we as a team have been working to achieve, we intend to progress the timeline as necessary to allow our players to finish their experience on Light Hope and eventually shut down the servers at the time of the official launch. Before we close our realms, we will allow players to download a cryptographically signed copy of their character data if they wish to continue their journey with another project. Up until that happens, we will continue to serve the community. Damn. So nothing. But
that is interesting, though. I like the idea of a cryptographically signed copy of their character so they can put it in.
Dude, that's what I've been saying for fucking years. I don't understand why we have not done this. I just don't get it. Like, why every time... And people insist on these 1x private servers. It's like, dude, can we just have our old fucking characters from the old server? I leveled it. I have fucking video evidence that I did it. Like, why do I have to level a new one? It's just so annoying.
Honestly, I think this whole thing with vanilla is going to force the private servers to look a different way because they cannot possibly compete with Blizzard.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If Blizzard does make some changes, so this is why I'm so excited about it, because if they do hire Nestarius, then we know private servers are fucked, because Nestarius was the best among them, and now they're going to be in charge, you know? But if they don't, and if they do some shit that people aren't agreeing with, what's Blizzard's response to that? Like, how are they going to react when private server communities start being like, oh my god, see, they ruined it? You know what I'm saying? Like, their goal is to get as many people as possible, right? Like, they're not going to be satisfied if people are not liking the product. So I don't know. I think this is going to be way more interesting than most people think it's going to be.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Blizzard's always been one of those people where quality is the number one thing that they look for. You know, they have quality over, you know, pushing out stuff.
Right, and that's the problem, right? I think to people who are looking for a purist agenda, like, the quality is why they should be scared, because Classic was not very high in quality, so there would probably be changes, but I don't know, we'll see.
At least let us auto loot, please.
That's what I'm saying. Stuff like that, like, come on. I can't believe it, you know? It's so crazy to think that the game ever did not have auto looting. Or what else? That it didn't have the you had to toggle the attack on. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. It's like, how the fuck did the game ever operate like this? Did you know that, Kyle? Did you play Classic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
I played Classic. Yeah. I started playing like 3 weeks after the game came out. I can remember all of my tunes would have attack on my bars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just... But if you toggle it, it toggles off. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you press it and it turns it on or off. There's an actual ability called attack. And, like,
yeah, that's what I mean. I had attack on my bar.
Oh, I thought you said... Yeah, my bad. I misunderstood. Yeah.
So I mean, they have to do stuff like that to make it playable. As you say, in 2017, 2018, they have to do something to make it at least
Yeah, I think they would.
Playable.
I think they would for sure. Well, that's it. Looks like everybody's done. Let's see. How about this voting? Let's see. Mythic Plus still leading by 1 vote. But anyway, that'll be for you. Then I'm going to call it here.
Sounds good, buddy. I think I will as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see everybody from these streams back in our streams again for next time.
Yep. Tomorrow is still a lot. There's just as much important stuff that's going to happen tomorrow. The important stuff that comes from the Q&A is usually like more specifics. So if they have answers to them, tomorrow will be the day. I'm really hoping we see something about the stat squish. I would like to see some questions about that. I'm sure there will be at least one, but the Q&A is like the most important thing about BlizzCon, if you ask me, because obviously the announcement is nice, but the Q&A answers way more questions than what they talk about typically. So
absolutely, totally agree with that one.
Guy says you don't need, with a question mark instead of a comma, you don't need auto loot in vanilla. You don't kill huge amount of enemy. That's, you're talking about AoE looting? Auto looting is so you don't have to hold a fucking button to be able to loot it. In TBC and onward, whenever you loot something, it automatically goes in your inventory. That's what we're talking about. Anyway, I'm going to go. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, take care, everybody, and thanks for watching the stream.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
Figure out how to turn this shit off now. Push talk. There we go. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. I'm going to take off. I'll see you guys another day. Maybe not tomorrow, but I don't know. Anyway, it was a great stream. I love this shit, man. I really do. I'm so hyped for fucking BlizzCon. So we'll see you guys another time.
I'm going to go eat dinner.